Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight, we have our guest, Jay Wyrick, who's going to be starting with coming on the show after the first commercial break. He is founder of Supernatural Serenity and editor-in-chief for ParaNation Magazine. We're going to talk about him, about his experiences. We have some of his evidence to share from his Facebook page, Supernatural Serenity, that we will be showing tonight. And, of course, we will have open phone lines later in the show where you can call in. If you have a question as a paranormal investigator for our guests, that'd be great. If you have your own paranormal experience, you just want some, Jay's opinion on, and you got the Paranormal Soup team here to help give you an opinion on, call in tonight's night. Share your paranormal experience. And, of course, we do every Sunday night as a World Wide Web of Weird. We're streaming out live, the Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Don't forget to go donate and subscribe. Do what you can to help keep that network going. And you can watch us at Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup on our Facebook page, where we are live as a webcast. All right, guys, let's get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Jay Wyrick, like I said, he will be joining us after our World Wide Web of Weird, after the first commercial break, so hang in there if you're waiting for him. But we got some good, weird stuff to talk about tonight. We'll get to that in a second, but let me bring up my Paranormal Soup team here. Let me get the share screen here. All right, and joining us, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing great and really excited to hear some of his stories tonight, what he's got to talk about.
Yeah, it's the personal experience of paranormal investigators. I love to hear how they got into it, and also the para-theory, the theory of how all this works. We did our Good Talk before the show. We have this Good Talk app. You go check it out. We do chat about the show. Tonight's subject was the afterlife. Do you believe in the afterlife? Well, I do. I'm an agnostic. I question everything. But being a paranormal investigator means I'm looking to find out what is the afterlife. I believe in it, but what is it like? And joining us from St. Augustine, Florida, is Rob Atria. His camera was there a second ago. Now he disappeared. You there with us, Rob?
Hey,
there he is.
I'm here.
Yep, we're going to get into the paranormal talk tonight for sure. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is the World Wide Web of Weird, so we should probably get rolling into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, we're going to start off with probably the most viral story in the paranormal community, is the Irish UFOs that were spotted by two different pilots. This happened, I believe, on November 9th. There's articles from everywhere on it. I chose the one from The Guardian, not to say they're anything special, but this is definitely one of the most viral stories, so I figured we'd get it out of the way. And it's really cool. And we're going to talk about how the media talks about that. For those listening on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network, we are a webcast. You can watch us at Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where you can see the videos and pictures. We do have a lot of videos tonight, so you might want to come over and check it out. Otherwise, just hang out on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network, and I will try to narrate the videos as best I can and describe them. And you can always go back and watch it for seconds. I love that. Go back. Seconds are great. Paranormal Soup. Get your second serving. But it'll be up on YouTube a few days after the show. It's always right away up on our Facebook page, pretty much a few minutes after the show ends, if you want to go back and check it out. But this first story comes from TheGuardian.com. Irish authorities investigate UFO sightings by commercial pilots. Now, I have a video that it happened on November 9th in Ireland. This video was taken by a one of those driving cameras, whatever, dash cam boards. You see this light going by. I'm going to read the article while Jeff plays this video here, but you see this light in the sky, and they think this might have been related to what these pilots saw. The Irish Aviation Authority is investigating after unidentified flying objects was sighted by pilots over Ireland. On the morning of November 9th, the pilot of a British Airways flight B498 BA94, sorry, from Montreal called air traffic control in Shannon to report seeing an object moving past her aircraft and asked if there were any military exercises taking place off the west coast of Ireland. It was moving so fast, she said, it came upon our left-hand side and then rapidly veered to the north. It was very bright. The light disappeared at a very high speed. According to a recording of the conversation by Air Live, a site for enthusiasts, the pilot was told there was no military exercise in the area. There's nothing showing on either primary or secondary radar, air traffic control said, according to the report. The pilot said her plane and the object were not on a collision course, but she was wondering what it could be. Other aircraft flying in the area reported the same thing. A pilot flying a Virgin Airlines plane from Orlando to Manchester described the site as a meteor or another object making some kind of re-entry, adding it seemed to be multiple objects following the same sort of trajectory, very bright from where we were. Another pilot also weighed in saying, glad I'm not the only one. And a lot of people and official sources are saying it's a meteor. And it could be, but I find it kind of weird how the media is covering these stories now. We're going to play a clip. This is, and there was a number of media sources playing it. I want to watch this Tucker Carlson's clip. We played one of him before when it was the last year, the Tic Tac UFO and his coverage of it. And this is his coverage of this. See how, if it's just me or is the media narrative on UFOs starting to change?
A very strange event recently in the skies over Ireland. Two different commercial airline pilots reported seeing unknown objects moving very quickly, remarkably quickly through the sky. Irish aviation authorities have launched an investigation into it because we are interested in what is true. We asked Brett Larson of Fox News Headlines 24/7 to dig into this a little bit, and he joins us tonight.
I just flew in, Tucker. It is another one from the X-Files. Several airline pilots flying across the Atlantic saw something in the sky moving at what the pilot thought was at least Mach 2, or 2 times the speed of sound. Concerned for what it was, both pilots on a British Airways flight from Montreal to London Heathrow contacted air traffic control first to inquire if there was a military exercise, and then told air traffic control
appeared to be multiple objects following the same sort of trajectory, so very bright where we were.
To come up on our left-hand side and rapidly veer to them. We didn't think it was a likely collision course. We just wondered what that could be.
So multiple pilots reported these lights, but as an astronomer chimed in on these sightings...
Go ahead. You can stop the video, Jeff. But it just seems like they even argue on the show that they don't believe it's dust. It just seems like the media narrative is changing. And I will give credit to the Beyond the Stars Academy, whatever it's called, for doing that, even though I have problems with some of the evidence they released and the lack of evidence that's come since they said there would be more, and there hasn't. I have issues. But it has seemed to change the media narrative. Maybe this is the controlled mechanism of UFO disclosure that they want, that I say is a bunch of crap. Because they want to control how it's released and the story behind it. And then, of course, you got the people that say they're planning a fake alien invasion. There's really aliens, but what we see won't be aliens so much as our military-industrial complex faking it and controlling the narrative. I don't know, but I do definitely see a change in our media's way of handling these UFO stories and more of an interest. Maybe it's a ratings thing, Of course, you talk about UFOs, people are going to turn in, maybe. All right, let's move on. This is another UFO one. I couldn't play the audio from this one. This is from a Kamloops man, if I'm saying that right. It says he can't explain objects he saw in the sky, and he swears a lot in this video, so I had to cut the audio from it. But Kamloops Harpert Singh swears he has not he is not one to make bogus UFO sightings. This is what he saw in the sky above Kamloops baffles him. For people listening, we have a video here. It's not the greatest video, and it's hard to see probably on the people watching. It's in the clouds. You're going to see it start peering in the clouds, but you see like an object floating behind the clouds. It's really messed up. You can see it there, and the guy's dropping F-bombs left and right as he's watching it. That's why he can't play the audio. Singh sent the CFJC today, or that's the name of the website, where he recorded at 4:15 p.m. Saturday, November 10th at New Afton Mine, just west of Kamloops, where he works. I think this is Canada, maybe? I don't know. Video seems to show a strange movement behind the clouds. Singh says that the disc-shaped object moved upward very quickly, which is when he took out his phone to record what he was seeing. I thought it would be some smoke that would disappear soon, Singh said, but when I'm watching it continuously, it was something behind the clouds. It didn't disappear. I got shook up when it moved up in very quick movement. At that moment, I realized it was something different and something strange. When I gave it some different movements, I started recording the video. It was some sort of disc that moved into vertical and horizontal positions afterwards. Singh is hesitant to call it an object a UFO because of skepticism associated with the sightings, but he doesn't know how else to explain what he saw. I don't know, it's pretty interesting. I don't think it's fake. There's something flying up there behind the clouds. Chandra, as a fan of the show, sent me a video right before the show. It seems really interesting. We're not going to have a Paranormal Soup next Sunday, so it might be 2 weeks before I get to share this video, but there's one that's going around viral. I wish I could have gotten the World Wide Web of Weird, and it's people flying in a plane, of course, videotaping a huge, massive UFO in the sky. So I don't know. I got to do some research on that one, Chandra, and we'll see if it ends up 2 weeks from now on the World Wide Web of Weird. But yep, there's another one. We got another UFO story later on, but let's change the gears a little bit. Let's go to some ghost stuff. This comes from mirror.co UK. Doorbell camera captures ghost plane when there was a knock at the door. And I find these cameras so interesting. People put it in. And the video I got is not the greatest. It seemed that when I downloaded it cut off like the bottom part of it. So you only see the top part of the video, and you do see like a blurry mass go past the camera. Psychic consulted after footage from homeowners. CCTV appears to show a figure approaching the front door handle and shaking the porch light. I didn't see the porch light shaking. I guess it does maybe move. Vigilant homeowner fears she may have been the victim of a haunting after her motion-activated security camera caught the footage of a ghost knocking at her door. Mini Susha, I don't know, just to call her Meanie. 46 was waiting for her parcel to be delivered to her home when footage was recorded appearing to show a faint apparition emerge from the bench on the left of the screen. Yeah, you don't see it because the video cut off. The figure then crosses in front of the camera, almost appearing to look directly at it. It then passes out of view, moving to the right before the camera sensor stopped recording it. Meanie of Vaughan, Ontario, Canada said, "My dog started barking and ran towards the door. I was waiting a package, so I figured it was the courier approaching. Looking outside the large window opposite her front door, she could not see anyone standing at the door or near the porch. Baffled, she dismissed her reservations, thinking her dog might have heard a noise outside. Then I was turning around and going back to my kitchen. I received a notification on my phone, doorbell alarm activation. So I looked at the video and I said, what the heck is this? The visit was made even more chilling by the significance of the bench seen on the left of the video, which was given to her by a former neighbor, Mario, who shortly before he died. She recalled one psychic said to me, does that bench hold any significance? I said, why? And she said, well, the spirit looks like it was sitting on the bench. The bench was given to me by somebody that was very close to me and passed away, and the anniversary of his death is coming up this week. He was my neighbor, and I'd known him my whole life and grown up across the street from him. And when my father passed away, he would always help us. The last conversation I had with him was sitting on that bench. So was it his ghost just saying hi? I don't know. It's a weird image. I thought, well, maybe it could be a bug, but I don't know. And this video here doesn't do it justice. You can go to mirror.co.uk, look up weird news, doorbell camera, and you'll find the article on the original video. I definitely say check it out.
So going back to like what you were saying about the news, the media changing their view on things, like as time goes on, cameras, doorbell cameras, security cameras, all phones, cell phones, everything is getting better and better. And is there more ghost sightings, more UFO sightings, or more people just capturing?
You wonder that. They say UFO sighting reports are down, but it doesn't feel like it because we see videos every day. And actually, recently, it seems like I've seen a lot of UFO videos. Like there's been an uptick in UFO sightings. Yeah. But is it just like you said? Is it just the more eyes in the sky, more recording devices out there to capture it? Dash cam video, and cell phones.
It's a little bit of all.
Yeah,
I mean, logistically, It seems like the media would have to start reporting some of the stuff or get left behind. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've ignored it for a long time. They can keep on
Yeah,
ignoring it too, though.
Oh yeah.
But it does, you do think it gets some ratings, these stories would. You think it'd be exciting stuff to talk about, more better than listening about politics 24/7. All right, this next one comes from unexplainedmysteries.com. Real life Chucky attacks woman and boyfriend, or woman's boyfriend. A woman in Peru has claimed that her possessed doll moves on its own and is prone to bouts of violence. The bizarre story was reported locally after the woman, whose name is Burliz, I think I'm probably butchering that, insisted that her boyfriend had left her after her deranged doll beat him up while he was sleeping. Named Daisy, the doll has allegedly been responsible for a whole host of unexplained occurrences ranging from sightings of strange shadows to physical disturbances and phantom injuries. One day, a bright light suddenly shone and my Bible fell down from a TV, said Burles. I started to cry and the light turned off and I saw shadows all around me. I was only 18 and my dad hugged me. When the light came on, my face was covered with cuts. According to reports, the nefarious doll, which is originally received as a Christmas present, has attacked not only her boyfriend but also her cousin. She's now desperate to keep it away from the house so it can't hurt her newborn baby. Since appearing online, the story has been met with a rather understandable degree of skepticism, with some social media users linking the doll to Chucky, of course, the antagonist of child play movies. To date, none of the phenomena attributed to Daisy has ever been independently verified. Burn the damn doll or something. I don't know. Get rid of it.
Let's play a game.
Yeah.
Oh, don't burn the doll.
I know, don't burn the doll.
Yeah, really.
Scratch my face, I might light you on fire, though. Get rid of the dang doll. Just bury it underwater or something. I don't know. Do something. Get it out of the house. Throw it in water.
Put it in a box, like a locked container, and bury it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's move on. Number 5 here.
Steak, maybe.
Yeah. I've been paying attention to these like kind of Mothman stories, winged creature stories that have been coming out of Illinois. A lot of them around Chicago. Something really interesting to me about it. There's been a lot of them. We got another one. This comes from singular14.com. Truckers report owl-like winged humanoid in Alice, Illinois. I don't know if that's how you say it, Alice. Manuel Navrati of UFO Clearinghouse recently received a report from 2 married truckers who claimed to have seen a winged humanoid resembling a large owl around 12:30 a.m. on October 26, 2018 in Alice, Illinois. A report was submitted by an older couple who work on an over-road team for a trucking company in Alice, Illinois. Navrati said they both have been driving together for over 15 years and have been married for over 27. The gentleman was at the wheel of the truck when the encounter occurred, and his wife was in the passenger seat. I spoke to both of them at the same time at a local restaurant near the truck yard. Both agreed to have the story submitted, but asked that their names be kept confidential due to the nature of their work. This is their story. We were on a way to park our truck at the yard after being on the road for 2 weeks. As we approached the railroad track crossing, we noticed something standing in the middle of the road, and it thought it was a homeless person walking along the tracks. We popped on the high-intensity lights. To our surprise, it was not a homeless person at all. This thing looked like a large owl, as it had what looked like feathers and flat, round face with large eyes that reflected the LED lights on our truck. The thing appeared to lunge at us while trying to cover its eyes with its left arm. Name redacted by results or whatever by request. Pulled on the air horn, and this thing turned its back on us and then took a couple steps, then took off into the air and flew off into the night. We were left sitting there in complete shock as we watched it disappear into the night. After a minute or two of looking in to see if the damn thing would come back around, we continued into the yard. We parked our truck and walked towards the car. As we were almost to the car, we heard what sounded like a scream, followed by another, and then silence. We hustled our tails to the car and left for home. The area of the sighting is heavily industrialized with few residential areas nearby, explained Navrati. The railroad crossing mentioned sits approximately 3/4 of a mile from the entrance and is surrounded by a wooded area on the west 122nd Street, across from the street from Coca-Cola plant. It's these more of these winged trucker or winged creature stories seen by people. If you see anything, send them to me. I'm really interested in this. I am near the Chicago area, and some of them are resemblance of Mothman. This one isn't. It's a winged owl creature. I don't know. It's something weird going on in Illinois. Why we keep getting these really strange stories. All right, let's move on before we run out of time. This one comes from KOIN.com. If it loads on my tablet here. St. Helens woman's reported UFO sighting. I'm not going to read the whole article, but I thought this interesting. More UFO stuff, and this is another media outlet covering it. Go ahead and play the story here. We'll let them hear the audio, whatever.
Woman says appeared over her house, caught on camera.
unidentified flying objects. That's what the St. Helens.
The video is really
said.
small.
The last 2 nights in a row, Michelle Gabriele shared these videos with us. She says she counted at least 15 of the strange lights that they seem to fly apart and then back together.
I don't know what that was last night. I don't know. I can only speculate. For me, it's an unidentified flying object. That doesn't mean it's an alien. It's just something in the sky that we didn't do.
Now, I would like to know more of the story on this woman, like how she took. There's nothing in the article that tells you what she used to capture the footage. I'd love to know more of what she was actually using to capture this footage. These are really bright lights, dark nighttime. You can tell, really bright in the sky. I would love to. It could be anything though, but it seems like they do this like whole starburst explosion. Like I don't know. It's really weird. I'd love to know more about what she was doing when she filmed these. Because the media is like, ooh, look, woman films UFOs, and that's it. But I want to know more. Inquiring minds want to know more. But this, again, another media source, and it was local covering it, but, I thought it was pretty cool there to get the video evidence up there. Maybe there is an awakening to UFOs, more of an acceptance by the media. We'll see. Something's different. I just feel like it is with the media and UFOs lately. Yeah. All right, one more thing real quick here. I'm not going to read the whole article on this. I've been seeing these articles at least once, twice a year. These articles come up of some kind of story like this about companies. This one is from CBN News, of course. Fear the mark of the beast. But they have a point because there's more of these stories coming about. This is UK firms ready to microchip employees, forced surrender of privacy for security. UK firm is encouraging their employees to get a microchip implants. Move that's rising alarm among some critics. Especially the people that believe it's the mark of the beast. My deal is with these companies. They want to encourage employees to get a microchip so they can have easier security access and blah, blah, blah. Man, you want to talk about the ultimate...
RFD chips, and what they want to do is get your paycheck on it. You scan to make copies with it. Basically, everything you do from going out to lunch, they charge it. Everything's done through these RFID or RFD chips. There's
and it seems
already,
like
I can't believe 20,000, 30,000 already in existence right now.
Because there's companies doing it. You saw last year we had an thing on where the employees are like, "Yay, microchip day!" And I'm like, what better way for your company to totally micromanage you?
I saw your bank account information.
Imagine your boss coming. No, just imagine this: your boss coming up to you and going, well, let me get this. We need to talk about your bathroom breaks. We've monitored you go into the bathroom like 15 times. Do you have constipation problems? Our microchips, says you have some irregular blood anomalies or something. They could just monitor everything you're doing. When you're not there, even
everything. Yeah.
Who wants that?
Too much.
People need to refuse this. If your company wants to do it as a whole. You might want to be microchipped, but I guarantee there's a lot of people in your company that don't. But that's how they're going to get us. It's not going to be some government microchipping us. It's going to be your job.
Heck, I just turned down a job because they said I had to cut my hair, so there's no way in hell I'm getting a microchip.
I actually worry about surgery now, that if you do refuse things like that, eventually, they can put that in the smallest incision to where I don't even want to get. I'm so terrified of these things.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're moving us towards it, like it or not, because like I said, they know they can't do it with the government. They're doing it through your job. They're going to get companies that want to do it. Well, you want a job here? You want a job here? Well, you better get the microchip. Oh, maybe legally we can't fire you, but you're never going to get a promotion, and we're going to just push you out of the company until you get a microchip. That's what's going to happen. That's it for the World Wide Web of Weird, just to paranoia at the end. That's what I like to do. All right, but we're going to come back with our guest, Jay Wyrick of Supernatural Serenity. We're going to talk some stuff, paranormal stuff tonight, ghost stories. Don't forget, you can call in the show. The phone lines are open now, 219-230-4444, Skype ID OOJBland00, or Soup, live chat, 800 live chat. But you will have to wait. We got to give our guest some time to tell his story and that. But then you can call in, join the conversation. And don't forget, go to Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Donate, subscribe, do what you can to help this great network keep going. Because without you, we wouldn't have all these great shows, these great hosts. All right, guys, be back with you in just a few minutes.
440, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Jay Wyrick. He has been scuba doing it, I love that, since 1995 and has been properly investigating since 2007. He co-founded the group Supernatural Serenity in 2013 and is the editor-in-chief and writer for ParaNation Magazine. He's been a lifelong fan of the strange and the occult, studying and researching since the age of 9. And boy, reading that tonight, very similar to my timeline of doing the paranormal. I don't know how old Jay is, but I started in 2008 officially. But I feel like you say Scooby-Dooing since, he can remember. That's been me too. So we should have fun tonight with Jay. And of course, there's the phone lines you can call in. Just got to wait till we call on you. There's 219-230-4444. You can call in. Or Skype ID 00JBland00. Those lines are open. The Soup live chat, 800 live chat is open too. You can call in on that. Just like I said, you got to wait in. We're not taking phone calls right now. If you call in now, you'll be waiting a while. So you might want to wait just a little bit later in the show. I'll let you know when we're going to take phone calls on the show. But we got a great guest tonight, so let's get to it. You there with me, Jay?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing good. Glad to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I'm going to give a little bit of description of who you are. Tonight, I'd like you to tell us, the main thing I always get in with a paranormal investigator, being one myself, is I always feel, not always, but most of us that do it had something to happen to us that, like I said, scarred us, basically, that got us into it. So what got you into the paranormal? Scooby-Dooing it. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a kid and it's back in the 90s, you get kind of stupid and do things that kind of give people a bad name. So we just go ahead and call it Scooby-Dooing because, you're not supposed to break into abandoned buildings and stuff like that. So
before you were officially an investigator, yes. I would tell people, I did all that, but that was before I was officially an investigator.
Exactly. I realized there's much more to it.
Yes.
But what really kind of got me going, when I was a younger kid, like you had mentioned, I was kind of interested in studying these different types of occult type things. Once I kind of found out it was more than just TV, I was like, this is awesome. So, I started taking a look at that. And then just one day, I was laying in bed and I kept hearing all these strange noises. And it went on for, a couple weeks before. And I go, oh, it's just like a squirrel or something, right? And I'm looking around and I keep peeking. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to find this squirrel. I'm going to catch it. Never found it. After like 30, 40 minutes of my little crawl space trying to find it, couldn't find it, so I went laid back down. And then I just kept hearing all these other weird noises, kept sounding like it was getting like closer and closer, like it's outside my door and stuff. And of course, me being a dumb kid, I'm like, sure, let's go run around and try to find this thing. So,
I say even a dumb adult will do that. You want to know what it is, what's making the noise. Was it like animal noises though, like scratching and stuff like that?
There was things like scratching, and it kind of sounded like there was murmuring, like someone was kind of talking, but it's like, right, it was kind of just all over weird because I really haven't had these kind of experiences before.
Right.
And I was like, all right, no big deal. And I went laid back down, and I was reading a comic book at the time, and, at that particular time, I used to have my prized possession comic books. I used to have them mounted on the walls and stuff because, I was proud of that stuff. And I just remember out of nowhere, one of them kind of started, looked like it was coming off the wall, peripheral wise. I turned and looked at it real quick and it fell onto the ground. I was like, okay, they kind of fall sometimes, right? That happens. I was like, all right, pick it up. I put it to the side. I needed a chair to kind of put it up where it was, and I didn't feel like doing that. And I went lay back down. I started reading again. And another one I started seeing doing it. I'm like, what the? And I sat there, like, no, it's my imagination. After the fell off, I'm kind of losing it. So I keep going, and it keeps look like it's floating, and it's closer and closer. And I turn to it, and it just drops. And then this time I was like 4 feet from the wall.
It was floating out. The comic book was floating out. So, oh man.
Yeah, and that's kind of what jumped me. And I mean, from there, I pretty much jumped up to my feet, standing on my bed. You know, I'm pretty sure I needed new shorts at the time. So,
how old were you? How old were you at the time?
I want to say it was maybe like 10 or 11.
Oh, wow.
So I haven't really kind of looked around for anything like this yet. I hadn't started my Scooby-Doo process. But, you know, that really kind of got me thinking and realizing there's something different. You know, something's not quite right here.
So did you ever look into your parents' home and find out, like, the history or, what might have been going on in your parents' home when you were a kid?
I mean, we moved around so much, you know, at the time. So, I mean, you know, we weren't there for, too long. I think we were about a year at that point.
Right.
You know, and at the time, you know, we didn't have a computer really. We weren't, you know, in the 90s, computers are pretty expensive, and we just weren't making that kind of money.
And you would have still found nothing on the internet back then that would helped you. Yeah, no. I just wondered if you'd heard any stories or ever, but you were moving around a lot. So that seems to happen to kids that, have to move around a lot. It's like eventually your odds are you're going to end up in a haunted house.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Eventually it's going to happen. Some kids, they grow up in the same house all their life, and you're a lucky one. You didn't have a haunted house.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure if I stayed in one place long enough, I'd be like, yeah, that's little Timmy. Who's little Timmy?
Oh,
he lives with us, right?
I was younger than that when I mean, I've had weird stuff since I was a kid, but the one that I knew was paranormal, besides I saw a green floating head with my cousin, so I had a witness to that. But there's also this trailer me and my mom lived in, and a ghost crawled into bed with me there. And
nice.
So when I was a little kid, I grew up in the 80s. I was going around posting. It wasn't Scooby-Doo, and I was putting up little my handmade flyers with me and a buddy with my mom's phone number on it of Ghostbusters. Call us if you've seen a ghost, whatever. And I put my mom's phone number on it. Oh yeah. So yeah, I know that. It's like we're born to it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was a couple years after I started reading into some stuff and reading into some of the occult type stuff. So I mean, I kind of had an idea, but I didn't really want to go after it per se. I mean, I was kind of a little bit of a scaredy kid, so
right. Well, every kid's got a little fear of it, but you had that innate interest though that awoke after that instant. Yeah, oh yeah. It's like I wanted to see a ghost, but I didn't. It's like you want
exactly.
I just want a proton pack on my back when I do. That's what I wanted.
Oh yeah, I mean, who didn't at that point in time? I mean, this was probably like 92. So, I mean, Ghostbusters was still a pretty big thing then.
Well, they had the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But it helped kids, like, faces like, like, these guys take on the ghost. I can, That's what Ghostbusters
I was just kind of hoping to get my own Slimer going on, but, I mean, I never kind of found that. I'm still looking for that, by the way.
So, what was some of the first things you did? How young were you when you, like, started Scooby-Dooing it? Or, like, getting into abandoned places and all that? As soon as you got a driver's license?
No, it was even before that. I was probably about 14 years old. And a lot of that was probably, more like crypto stuff because I would hear some strange folklore in the near area and I'd kind of go running after, trying to figure out what it is. Like, oh, there's some crazy, monster, whatever in the woods. So I go running through the woods.
That's to me even more dangerous than ghost. If there is a crazy monster, do you really want to meet it? So where was this? So you had some crypto stuff going on.
This was Florida, actually. So I mean, it was out
like
in the swamps and stuff.
So this was like the skunk ape kind of thing.
Well, I haven't heard that until probably about 10, 15 years ago. But
yeah,
it was things like that. It was there was one that I heard. There was like a giant boar type creature that would just come run through,
Yeah, that's not something you should be chasing after, Jay.
Now I wouldn't do that, not without, maybe a
when you're young, it's like, nothing can hurt me, no crazy, monstrous crypto boar, I'm going to go find it, though.
I can outrun it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did stuff like that I would never do now, not just because I'm a paranormal investigator and I don't want to, be somewhere I'm not supposed to, but I also have the fear of like losing my life to some I discovered Bigfoot, now he's beating the crap out of me.
Hey, I've run into wild boars out in the woods. I'd rather run into a Bigfoot than a wild boar.
Right?
Yeah, in hindsight, yes.
Yeah.
Because unless you got an elephant gun on you, you better be running fast.
Right. I was pretty good at climbing trees then, so I mean, I figure at the worst, I'll take a running start and jump up and climb into a tree.
Did you ever find anything when you were out there, or have any experiences? I never got. Where I live, I've never had a crypto experience, and that's one thing I wish I would love to experience. I've had a UFO and ghosts, plenty of that. I never got my own crypto experience. Did you ever experience anything when you were out there?
I mean, the closest I would say is like your typical Bigfoot story type thing. You know, that there's something out there, something a little too big for me to want to go chase at the time. You know, and I think at that, I just had one friend with me, and he took off running, and I was just sitting there by myself. And
it's like the noises in the woods. You know, it's something big coming at you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I mean, this was kind of like in Florida. They had a lot of swamps in the areas and a lot of woods surrounding it. You know, and I heard some grunting and stuff, and I wasn't sure what it was. And then I kind of saw the bushes and trees, you know, starting to shake a little bit as something was coming by it, or you know, just running
you weren't
into it.
Sticking around to find out, and neither would I.
Nope. That was probably the smartest thing I ever did.
yeah. You know, that I think that for a lot of people, that's why that's their maybe one Bigfoot encounter is because nobody sticks around long enough to find out. It's probably a little bit dangerous. You don't know. You don't know if Bigfoot is friendly or not. I mean, I loved the movie Harry and the Hendersons. My kids have watched it like a billion times since then. But I don't know if Bigfoot's really like Harry and the Hendersons. I was actually making that reference because my wife came home with a turkey tonight. No, get joking. My wife comes home with a turkey tonight, and I felt like I was living in Harry and the Henderson because my 2-year-old's in there petting the turkey. In there, when we told him it's a turkey, I'm like, it's dead. And he's like, no, I'm petting it. You know, like, I honestly, the stories I hear, you don't know if Bigfoot's even a vegetarian. It sounds like it could be eating deer and stuff, and it could be a carnivore, and that might not be good news for you. You know, if the deer supply has been down or something, or you just pissed him off and he's going to eat you. You know, it makes you wonder. I think ghost hunting is a lot more safe than crypto hunting. I mean, besides the fact that you hear the David Paulides, or you say his name, the 411 missing people, go missing in these places. You're going out there, Jay. You might not come back. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The swamp will eat you alive. I mean, literally.
They're supposed to be raping people, man.
Yeah,
there's those. Just going to bring that up.
Oh yeah, Jay. What happened? The Bigfoot and no. That's like Deliverance taken to a whole other level.
Right. Well, the benefits of that aspect of it. I mean, that could be like a key to success at some point. It's like, they jumped on me and kind of did his thing, but I made sure we put a ring on it, so now we're married and we have kids. So
I got the DNA evidence all over me.
Oh, Jason.
Well, I'm just saying. So, you were doing this stuff as a kid, you definitely had the interest in the weird. What was your, besides your experience as a kid with the floating? And by the way, did it have a certain comic book selection?
Actually, believe it or not, yes. It was the ones I had in that area where they were falling off of, quote unquote, and floating a little bit was actually death characters, so issues that characters would die, and which really hit me kind of hard.
That's kind of creepy. So like the death of Superman, Nightfall's Batman, that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. And the particular one that kind of was floating was the death of Multiple Man. I don't know if you're like a big X-Force, X-Factor fan, but
I was a DC guy. I had a lot of the DC stuff. I was the boring nerd, I guess, but I like the DC. I had Superman and Batman were my big ones. I had when you said the death of them, that's what I had in my bedroom was the death of Batman and the death of Superman comic books.
I had those too.
Oh yeah. So I was curious what he took, or was it a Stan Lee? I don't know. Rip Stan Lee. But you do this. What was your first I'm going to go into a haunted location?
The first one I did that, it was a little bit later on. I was probably, 15, because it was before I moved off to another state. So I was about 15 years old. A friend of mine, he had a driver's license and stuff like that. He was talking about an old abandoned warehouse that apparently used to be an old hospital or something like that. And and it was like he was sitting there talking about how like his sister's ex-boyfriend or something, snuck in there one time to go drink and, do drugs or whatever they were doing at the time, breaking in stuff to go party, basically, and saying how, they had something get thrown at them and they got chased off by a ghost or a demon or something.
But it wasn't the drugs. It wasn't the drugs.
It wasn't the drugs. Right.
I've heard those stories. I've heard those stories. I swear, man, it was. Yeah, we did a keg right before that and tripped some acid. But man, I swear, I've heard those stories. But you do,
Yeah.
that's why these places burn down. I swear, half the time isn't. I always say 100 places burn down. Most times because they're abandoned. And some kids had some party in there that got a little bit too crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, we said, okay, we're bored, and so we hopped in the car, drove on over, walked over, and slid past the fence and everything, went in there, and you can definitely tell there's people, squatting at some points and spray, graffiti
There's your
and
real
stuff like
danger,
that.
not the ghost. It's the heroin addict squatter you're going to run into in there. That you're in his territory. He starts flinging feces at you. Yeah, that's the real danger.
Yeah, no one wants that, but typhoid or some crap, hepatitis that's thrown at you. But yeah, and I kind of thought it was a homeless person or something like that, kind of messing with them too, because you kind of saw evidence of people sleeping there once in a while, and then we kind of ran through. We had our flashlight, and we kind of went through the building a little bit, and we kind of heard footsteps randomly throughout it, and there's an old door that's shut. I mean, we didn't see anybody. So it very well could have just been someone that got spooked and was running through the place, or it could have been the first actual ghost encounter for me. So
it's like some homeless guy in there. What are these nerdy white kids doing in this place? Let's get out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it didn't hurt that I was tall, lanky, and blonde with a chin scruff, so I looked just like Shaggy running through the stupid thing. So he probably was on drugs and thought cartoons were coming to life. I don't know.
God, he's like the Scooby Doo gang's here.
Exactly.
Weren't you meddling kids?
Right. But you mentioned that's what you go into these abandoned places. That's the only thing. I used to do it too before I was officially an investigator, and that'd be the one thing you worry about running into. I had my cousin once tell me, I think it was my cousin who told me the story. Went to a place, one abandoned place in my town I never got to go to before. I think it burnt down. Went into this. It used to be an insane asylum, but people said it wasn't. And he went in there, and there was some guy, and there used to be rumors that mob hits would happen there. And he looked around this corner, and there was a guy like wearing one of those like butcher aprons. And had a mask on, and that was it. He was gone. He was out. They said they found bodies there, body parts. It was like the urban legend was that the mob was doing hits there. Maybe you were watching somebody Dexter somebody there, But that's what the chances of running into when you're a kid and you're first young investigators. You're not officially investigator, but you're into it. And you go to these places. Right. That's your danger. It's not the ghosts. It's the people you might run into.
Exactly.
So did you have like recording equipment when you went as a kid, or did you just go just to check it out? Like that's what most kids did.
Yeah. I had a flashlight, and
that's about all you need.
My childish wonder.
Yep. I was there too, and now I was like some of the stuff I saw a full body apparition when I was a teenager in an abandoned house, and I did have a camera on me. But I did not hit the record button like I thought I did, and I it only would have if I was recording, it would have only gotten like 2 seconds before I ran. I'll admit I ran because it was a full daylight, full body apparition, and I ran. Yeah, well, I killed myself now because I'm like I should know better. I would never run again. I would totally film it. Right. I had a camera too. That's what kills me even more. And I thought, well, I got 2 seconds. No, I got nothing.
Nope.
That's the worst. So what did you do to kind of officially get into being a paranormal investigator?
So pretty much officially, I was in the military at the time, and I actually had gotten together with a couple people that I worked with, and we were down in Texas, and they had mentioned that there was, some haunted Civil War era graveyard out there with a bridge that's supposed to have some, typical hauntings, and it was a typical story that pretty much everybody has where, kids will try to push the vehicle or something like that.
Isn't the famous location in Texas? There's a famous location like that. It's not coming to mind at the moment. I'm sure somebody in the chat room will put it up. But there's a famous location. I mean, it's been on plenty of TV shows where the kids push the car. I believe it was Texas.
It seems like I hear a story in every state that I live in like that, so I couldn't tell you.
I had one in my town, Jay. I had one in my town. It's like just like the Texas one, and we even did the powder on the back of the car. Yep. And I swear to God, there were fingerprints. I was like meticulous to keep everybody away from it. Nobody touch it, and I thought maybe it's fingerprints left over from somebody previously touched it, but they were in a weird spot. They were like at the bottom of the bumper, and I had wiped it all down and the bottom of the bumper, and it was like they pressed right in there, and there was these long fingers, and we did get pushed over the tracks. Now, again, that was an illusion. It was the way the road was. It made it look like you were going uphill, but you weren't. So
Yes.
I don't know. I'm like, but I got those fingerprints.
Right, exactly. And that one we had our cell phones. The cameras just started becoming a thing on cell phones at the time. So we had those, and we kind of, were recording a few things. And, I don't think we actually got anything that was worth, talking about, really, because I think it was just a bunch of people just running around, jumping and screaming at their own shadows. And
that's usually how it starts, when you first start.
Yeah,
going.
Exactly.
But so when you started to kind of officially do it, what was like, what kind of like, did you get any training? I mean, I know plenty of good investigators that they learned it all on their own, so there's no judgment on that, But did you get any training, or how did you start learning how to do it?
I don't know. It was basically all trial and error, and
that's how it is for I think most people.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of course, when the TV shows started becoming a thing, I'd watch those things and go, oh, maybe I'll try that next time I go do something.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the time, I didn't really know anybody, like, specifically that actively went out, and investigated on a legitimate level. It was more of just, hey, let's go out there and go find something,
And is that how you kind of started Supernatural Serenity?
That one came with a friend of mine, Aaron. We were in another group together that they asked me to come be the tech guy for. And so I joined them for a little while, and things were kind of slowing down. So we had talked about branching off and kind of doing our own thing. So, yeah, in 2013, we got together and we decided we're going to just kind of do our own thing and kind of just do it the way that we just feel comfortable with. And, from there, we just kind of been back and forth and, doing a couple investigations here and there, just trying to keep as busy as we can.
Now, what when you're going into a location, now, like, what's your basic setup now of kind of equipment that you're bringing in when you go into a location?
Usually, I'll of course, you have the camcorders and you have the digital recorders, and I rely pretty heavily on those things. We do use things like the REM pod. I'm kind of getting away a little bit from the spirit box and kind of going more with a white noise machine, like the actual static aspect of it.
Ooh, we can talk about that. That'd be great to talk to you, because I've been thinking about that kind of stuff a lot lately. But sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but it's something I want to get back to.
Yeah, no worries. I've used a couple DVR systems set up, but I have bad luck with those kind of things. So it's like I'll use them like once or twice, and then something will happen and be completely corrupted, and I can't use it anymore.
Yeah, I've gone through a couple DVR systems, and Ricky, if you're listening, we got an investigation coming up. We need to get together and work on our DVR system. That's my tech guy in my group, because it's been a while. So, but you talked about the white noise. How you we do a live show once. It used to be once a month. Now it's every couple months we do a live show where we do spirit boxes, and we do stuff live, and people call in. We get crazy results doing it.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking a lot about white noise, because when I first started out, it was the guy who mentored me. When he was doing it way before there was even TV shows.
Right.
He was using white noise in his classes and that. Not for everything. We do EVPs without white noise. We do EVPs with white noise. And we talked about the theory of stochastic resonance and how they can the white noise might be something they're able to use to manipulate to come through and communicate. And then a lot of investigators seem to get away from it. And myself personally, I did too. But as I've gone doing this, I feel like, I don't know about you, but it's like if you leave a recorder. And I'll tell investigators that do this that start out, they'll love to, like, I had one guy, he had like 7 different recorders, and he's like, I'm going to leave this one in this room and this one in this room, and he's going to record for our 5-hour investigation the whole time. I'm like, okay, have fun reviewing that.
Right.
And I told him, I said, I did the same thing when I first started out. I'd put recorders in rooms. I even hooked up a mixing board and had mics. All through the this one church once, I got it all mic'd, had everything recorded, and man, that was some review. But the stuff I got stuff on was when we had people around talking. When it was left alone, when I have a recorder left alone, it'd be nothing. And I did have some. I did have some, but the other problem was when I did get something, I'm like, if I didn't have a video camera with it, what was that noise? Was it a paranormal, or is this something I'm not knowing is in the room at that time?
Right.
But most of the time, I just don't get anything. It seems like what I've discovered after all this time is that they do need some kind of noise to bounce off and use to make an EVP. It feels like that. And that's why I'm like kind of coming back to the idea of white noise again and using it, as something that they can use to communicate.
Yeah, because it's something that kind of like you mentioned that, I kind of got away from as well. And I was thinking about it not too long ago, and it's always one of the things when you use a spirit box, the false positive aspect of it. Was it a radio station pickup, or was it actual something trying to come through? And
Right.
it's, you know, and I figured, okay, what we'll do is, you know, I'll try using this white noise generator that I have. And actually last night I did an investigation. We used it for the first time by itself.
Right.
So, you know, it was one of those things that, you know, it comes through and it gives a noise, but it doesn't have the radio stuff, which I really liked.
Yeah,
but then it gives
it's just a white noise, and there's different kinds, like pink noise, brown noise.
Yep.
There's different, you know, levels and octaves you can use.
And frequencies, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to do it early on. I kind of disappointed myself that I kind of got away from. I think I don't know about you, Jay, but it's like when you got that first EVP and you didn't have white noise, it's just a clear voice that comes through. And you're just like, wow. But when you get it on a white noise, it's never like the best quality, you know. It's like hidden within the noise almost. And so it's like you love those EVPs that are just come out of nowhere. And I think that's why we get away from the white noise. It's like, we want that. And then we sit there and listen to hours of audio and only get one or two of them. But maybe we're missing out. We could get more with the white noise.
Yeah, and I mean, I also think like for me, a lot of it was technology. So like when the spirit box really started coming out and becoming a thing, you know, it's like, oh, this is a new piece of the technology aspect. Let me go ahead and use that. And then it just kind of became like the go-to because it was easier to use.
Yeah, it is. It's instant result. You know, even with the white noise, you're not going to hear it in real time. You know, you're going to hear it on the review. The spirit box took off because you hear it in real time. And I've heard some amazing things that I just, honestly, I still like to use the spirit box, but it's like I don't like to use it for the whole investigation. I've had investigators that want to like let's just run the spirit box. It's like, no, we got to do some EV time, you know, like I love the spirit box, you know, but actually I hated it at first. I'll honestly admit the SB7 was the first, you know, spirit box people started bringing in. And I'm like, oh, time for a headache. You know, because
exactly.
It's like really loud, and I hated it.
We hate you, so we're going to play this, and you're going to hate this as much as we hate you.
But I did hear some interesting stuff come through that SB7, man. I'll never forget the first time I actually got kind of convinced in it. I had it say a name of the client's uncle we didn't know at the time. And when she came back, and we told her, it kept saying this name. She goes, that's my uncle who passed away a few months ago, and that's when all this stuff started. And that's when I was like, okay, there's something to it, and got a little more interested in it. But man, I would hate that noise. And then now there's new stuff. You don't have to have that noise. You know, there's so many, there's apps. I've just come to believe, you know, the reason I think anybody can use any kind of audio bank app, spirit box, you can use them, I believe, because just like the white noise, they need something to manipulate. So I don't know about you, but I swear some of my best EVPs came in between two other investigators talking.
Yes. Actually, one of the things that I've recently posted, I told us to just leave, and I was just sitting there talking with Aaron, the other founder, and you know, it's like, hey, you want us to leave? You know, what's going on? Hey, you know, just kind of doing little talks back and forth a little bit, and boom, just out of nowhere it came through the spirit box in that one. I was like, wow, didn't even hear it really until I went back in the post.
But that came from the spirit box, though, right? Yeah,
that one came from the spirit box. The other one actually was a woman saying help kind of aspect of it, and that was actually, we were just talking. You know, I left the actual camera sitting down, and I went over and walked away, and you could actually hear it a little bit, and all of a sudden, like in a pause between words, you know, it's like a 5-6 second pause, you just hear a woman's voice that there's no women in the entire building.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. The EVPs, to me, when they leave EVPs, it's like they had to use some kind of audio to reverberate with or to send back. That's why it always seems to be some of the best ones I've gotten have come through right between two investigators talking. I swear. I don't know about you either, too. I like to compare notes between other investigators that got EVPs. Sometimes I've gotten like a pop or a click before an EVP's come on. Have you ever gotten that, too?
I've got the pop and the click.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the pops and the clicks. And that's, you know, a lot of times when I'm listening to stuff, I'll try to remember those pops and clicks because I don't always hear right away.
Right. It's like
you know,
clue.
when it comes through.
It's coming. Like you hear the pop and clip, it's like, oh, listen, because there's something coming through.
Yeah, or whistle. I even heard a lot of whistles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When early on, I got a whole list of EVPs that are just like whistles that I've gotten, which are weird. You know, how does that happen? You know, but that to me as an investigator, that was like my bread and butter when I first started with EVPs. That was like some of the first like evidence I was getting. Still my favorite. Is that what you get a lot of? Is the EVPs? Is, you know, what you kind of, at least what you first started out with?
was that one more time? Sorry.
I said, was EVPs kind of like the first thing you started getting, or because to me it was like the bread and butter of my evidence when I first started was EVPs. Still is, really.
Yeah. EVPs was a pretty big thing, at first, because I just said it was the first, like, oh, that's definitely not us, talking sort of thing. And, there was, again, like the cameras at the time when I really first started coming through in like 2007 and so forth, they weren't the greatest in the world unless you could afford like a really nice camera. Yeah. And I couldn't. So, I mean, there's some things I looked at, when I would go back and look on my phone and stuff like that. Like, what was that? I don't know what that was, It could have just been something that misidentified, casting of a shadow or something. But, when it came down to like the actual EVPs, when I look at video footage of it and you kind of listen, it's like, well, that's not us. So that has to be something, right? And it was kind of back and forth. Like you said, it was the easiest way to identify unless you had a ton of money to verify with a visual piece of evidence.
Now, you captured some EVPs. Have you gotten any? I always say I look for EVPs that give you some kind of clue, to what you're investigating, but also some that give you kind of a clue to what it's like on the other side. Have you ever got any interesting EVPs that like kind of like maybe give you a little insight to what it's like for that ghost?
Yeah, there was one in Jerome, Arizona that I went and did a couple years back, and there was a child that had come through the actual spirit box, and it was an actual call and response based, conversation we were having. And, within it, it's resonated with me quite a bit because it wasn't a very pleasant situation. And it became part of the response for asking, why are you still here? And it said, I'm stuck. And I was like, what do you mean? Is something keeping you here? And it's like, yes. And it was, one of those kind of things where we're going back and forth and we're trying like, what do you mean you're stuck? And then just out of nowhere it stopped and a growl came through and that was it.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, okay then. Equipment started shutting off and I was like, okay, apparently we're not wanted to be here right now, but the kid's trapped. So what are we going to do about this?
Yeah, you wonder too, because you hear some of these stories of spirits saying they're stuck or trapped. Sometimes you hear there's always like because you talked about the growl, like a dark presence there, demonic or whatever some people want to call it. But sometimes it feels like there's always like this other darker presence that like holds other spirits to a location. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that's like, because a lot of times when you're investigating and you're doing your research, probably investigation, of course, you can't sit there and go, oh, well, there was a satanic cult that came here and released the most evilest thing in the entire world and is trapping souls here. I mean, you don't get that kind of research. So, it's always kind of difficult because it's based on faith at that point, You get an EVP or something and when you're talking about it to other people, it is kind of a fantastic thing. It's a very Hollywood-esque type situation, but when you do it and you experience it, you're like, okay, this is definitely something, that's not normal. But, because like I don't really work with like mediums or psychics or anything like that. So it's like, so what do you do at that point? And most of the time it's you just kind of document, you tell the story. And for me, I feel bad because you can't do nothing.
Especially when you get the child's voice. I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times on the show, but those are the worst EVPs to me to get. I love them, but I hate them at the same time because it's the most depressing. It's like, why would a child be stuck in a location? What holds a child's spirit there? That seems like the greatest injustice in the world. They're innocent.
Exactly.
What sin could they have committed to stay there? Now, I don't know what your opinion is. Like, some investigators, I think most investigators, believe that some cases are residual and some are actual conscious spirit. In that kind of instance, you got to believe it's a conscious spirit. It's not some residual effect. It's trying to tell you its situation that it's stuck. So were you able? I mean, you just document it, but and you say you don't work with psychics or mediums, but did you guys try to do anything or say a prayer to like get the spirit to move on?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's one of those things like, we'll kind of say like a little bit of a prayer, or like a little group thing sometimes. It just depends on who I'm working with at the time. But usually it's, a pray thing. And I know for me, I always, ask whatever higher power, whatever universal, energy or whatnot. It's like, hey, look, if this, individual is truly being tormented or in pain in the afterlife, or being stuck, if something, anything, anyone can do something, and that's usually kind of what I do. And, even like the investigation last night. There's have to still review some stuff, but there's a possibility of something like that as well. So it's like, okay, this morning and when I got home, it's like, okay, hopefully that was just a misheard aspect of it. But if it is true, if there's anything,
can you say where you were investigating last night?
Yeah. I was actually up in Cripple Creek, Colorado, and the Outlaw and Lawman Jail Museum again.
Ooh, tell us a little history of that. What is this place that you were at?
Yeah, so this used to be the only prison up in Cripple Creek that they built when the gold mining boom happened in Colorado, and Cripple Creek was one of the first places. If I remember, I've seen two different things. I've seen online where the prison was built in 1881, but the city employee that works with the museum said it was established and opened in 1901. So maybe it just took a long time to build, or the timeline's off. But it started with there. And then it was a small town prison. They had different sections. They had kids, women, and then they had the men's section. And at the time, most of it was just drunks and, people doing fights, or, kids stealing chickens, or, prostitutes who beat up their johns or something like that. And, it ran all the way until, I want to say 1993, 93, when it actually closed down for me to prison. And that entire 90 to 100 years that they were open, they had anything from, violent assaultist. They actually had a pedophile rapist that was there for a little while in the mid-1900s. That's actually supposed to be a highly intelligent, one of the more active male.
That's the one you don't want to be intelligent and interacting with you, is the child rapist. Yeah, no.
Right, yeah. It's a pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of the claims and a lot of the stories and a lot of the experiences that come out of that because of that actual entity is pretty fantastic. Some of them have a hard time believing, because it's like, okay, maybe you're just hyping things up for the museum to get more traffic or not. But if it does actually happen, I want to experience that. So, it's.
I want the child rapist ghost experience, please. Sign me up for one.
Right, exactly. And it's one of those things where apparently the entity's ashamed, and that's why he's punishing himself by staying there, sort of thing.
It's what you wonder. Why would you stick around? They must be stuck. Who would want to stick around a prison after you already served your time, right? Why would you stick around while they're continually punishing themselves? Probably a place I felt was awful. You can imagine if it was open for almost 100 years. By the time it shut down, the conditions there had to be pretty miserable. Most of these prisons, when they lasted that long, were shut down in the 80s or 90s, were in pretty poor shape, and their inmates were too.
Yeah, and I mean, this place, it was pretty decently maintained. It was like a gold standard for prisons in Colorado, actually, because they designed it in a different way where, especially in the late 1800s, the prisons, like the cell walls were up against like the concrete or the stone walls. This one actually has a really disturbing looking steel contraption where it has the cells right in the middle of it. So it actually helped.
It sounds really familiar. Has this been on TV shows before?
I want to say Ghost Adventures did it once.
Yeah, it sounds really familiar when you said that, when you described that. That is kind of like a, I don't know, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it makes you, looking at it, if you were there, it'd probably make you feel like the cells are closing in around you.
Yeah, it's very, very tight. I mean, they're designed to have up to 6 individuals in this cell that's literally 6 by 6.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Oh, you and 5 other sweaty inmates.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
They weren't able to even stand up. Is that correct? And like the guards would drop snakes and.
What? No, hold on. Wait a second. What? They would drop snakes?
I don't know if they dropped the snakes or whatnot, but I mean.
Go ahead, Jamie. What were you going to say?
I may have gotten the two stories mixed up.
I know which one you're talking about, Jamie.
Okay, we'll get back to that one, but
yeah, that's an interesting one. I want to hear that one.
No, heck no. Oh.
But yeah, the cells were that small. I mean, they can basically just stand there, or sit on the floor like cross-legged, but it was not comfortable. I mean, luckily they didn't have, according to the individual who works there, they didn't have too many historical documents that suggested it was that full. but for very long. Usually it was
they didn't probably want to document that either, though. You know what I'm saying? They probably cooked the books on that. You know.
Oh yeah. A lot of the stuff they had is like, inmate so and so came in, placed them in a cell. They didn't always track it, and they didn't always track when they were released appropriately. So I mean, they're still, doing. Because like the curators and the people working there are still constantly every day researching and reading old newspapers to try to get actual documentation to help support their museum. So,
well, that's one thing. One good thing about ghost hunting is as it is an activity, it does help a lot of these old museums and that stay alive. And keep going, so it's a good thing for them, And but it also can, like you said, can you trust certain things or stories because they're just hyping it up to get people to investigate it? That's I've always I want to go there and see it, but like the Mystery Mansion of Sarah Winchester, that is a completely like the Sarah Winchester story is most likely most of it made up. The way that they produced it, it's not what they make it out. Even that movie, but the people that bought that mansion did it because they knew it would bring people, the ghosts.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to the Stanley Hotel here in Colorado. The same exact thing. I mean, it started getting notoriety, and all the TV shows were coming through,
but it did have some good real ghost stories with it. Stephen King had his own paranormal experience there. It influenced him to write The Shining. So I mean, it put his clothes away, which I always found that is such a crazy story. They put him in that, what was it, room 217 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, and they and him and his wife went to look around the hotel, and they come back, and all their clothes are put away. And then the front desk people are like, "Yeah, we didn't do that. That just happens."
Happens sometimes.
But yeah, Stanley, if it wasn't for Stephen King and then ghost hunters going there and that, it would just be this resort hotel with a little bit of patrons, I mean, sure they get some, and they get a lot more because of the ghost hunting.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, the last time I was up there, it's with the new ownership. It's like a whole,
jealous.
Group.
It's like, oh man, you don't even know. You can ask my wife. That's probably number one on my paranormal bucket list places I want to go to because I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and and I watched Ghost Adventures when they went there. I stayed up for the whole live Halloween special back then because to me I love. I love that novel, and I've always wanted to go to that hotel. So I'm jealous of everybody that tells me, "Yeah, I've been there. It's really cool." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, jealous." Yeah. Did you have any experiences at the Stanley? I have to ask. Did you get to investigate it at all, or?
They kind of started to get away from the investigation aspect of it. I mean, it's horrible, but I was there, and at the time I was there, you can still do like a free roam walkthrough. Like you don't actually have to have, a key or anything. You just walk upstairs, and so that's what I did. I just walked upstairs. I broke out a camcorder and I broke out a recorder, and we just kind of walked around a little bit. And they have this one stairwell going up to the attic that is supposed to just be storage. And I mean, at one point. I don't post it because of the other individuals who are there, but, there's you can see like a small crack in the thing. You can see someone walking back and forth, an occasional footprint, but it was very silent, but you can see the shadows of someone walking. They stop and then they turn around and walk again. I was like, this is old and creaky. You should be able to hear someone walking more. And that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, some of the really hot spots that were there were individual rooms. And of course,
that's what I remember. You remember the Ghost Hunters episode? One of the best parts of that episode was Jay was in. I don't remember. Grant stayed in the 217 room, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Jay stayed in another room. They knew it was haunted, and that evidence from that night. If there, I wonder anything. I don't know about you, how you feel about it, Jay, but anything that comes from the Sci-Fi Channel or anything from, I don't trust it. I'm not saying Jay or Grant would purposely fake something. I'm not judging them, but I don't know. I have grown a really big distrust for Hollywood, but this I felt was real. Jay was sleeping in his room, and you see that closet door open. And then the glass next to his bed just shatters. Yep. I thought that was some of the best live, well, it wasn't live. That one was later on, I think. I think that was before they did their live special. It was when the first investigations there. Right. But I always thought that was some incredible footage of evidence. I hope that's real because that's incredible.
That does fall with a lot of the claims that I've heard because, I mean, I've befriended quite a few people and groups here in town that was able to go there prior when they were still very open and very friendly to investigators and stuff.
It's sad they're not. It's what always seems to be the happens with a place. It becomes super popular. They eventually get just tired of the paranormal investigators.
Right. And in their case, like they still have like the tours where they just have a tour guide walk around and talk about it. But what they'll do is they'll charge you like $50-$60 to go on these little tours where they say, hey, this is the carriage house, and this is the ballroom where, the young lady that's supposed to be haunting it. But you can't go in there and do anything. They just kind of tell you the stories.
Yeah, it's like, no, wait, I want to go in there, investigate.
Right.
I hope they change their mind on it and start doing more. Because they used to have ghost hunts there, and then I heard them make an announcement that they really weren't going to do that anymore. I'm like, oh man. Yeah. But I want to be able to at least run out to room 217, or I want to find the room. I'll have to research it again, find out what room Jay stayed in. I'm like, I want that room. I want that room.
I can go to the room. I just can't remember what number it is.
yeah. But you'd be able to make a reservation. Hopefully, and get that room. Like, the 217 room, please. Or one of them. I want one of those rooms. I want to stay in them one night. It's on my bucket list. I'm gonna get. It has to be one of the haunted rooms. I definitely want to make sure I reserve one of the main haunted rooms. But I want to do it one day. It's a goal of mine.
Oh yeah. No, it's from everybody I know that stayed in one of those two rooms. It's at least worth it. Like you walk away with something. It may not be the same as what other people get, but you walk away with something.
Ever since I saw that footage of Jay in that room, it's just like, okay, I have to go to this place one day. It's you're not going to turn around in the hallway and see two little girls say, "Come play with us," But I was hoping. You're hoping. That's Stephen King's novel, but actually, it's not even in the novel. I should say that, but
it's in the movie.
Yeah, it's in the movie, and it wasn't even the original movie's not even done in that hotel.
No.
But I want to have that experience there because it's such a beloved book of mine. I've read that The Shining a billion times. If I want to have a paranormal experience at the Stanley Hotel. It's a bucket list. Even if I don't get to have an experience, I don't care. I want to go.
It's well worth just being there and seeing it.
What were you saying, Rob?
When blood starts pouring out of the elevator, I think I'm going to leave, though.
One of the best scenes in Ready Player One, if you haven't seen that movie. Ready Player One, go see that movie. That's the best scene. The people ends up in that computer simulation of The Shining. It's awesome. Don't go down the hallway, no. But that's definitely on my bucket list of places. Now you're based out of what area?
Denver, Colorado area.
So Denver. So that's right in your neighborhood. I'd be going there a lot. What are some of the other locations? Because we're gonna be going to commercial break soon. But what are some of the other locations that people might know that you've been investigating in that area?
I did the Central City area. I actually kind of discovered another museum up there. But from my understanding, they have regular rotations through the Gilpin Museum with investigations now. But as far as big name ones, there's not too many that I've been to in Colorado because they're very difficult to get into. I tried the Molly Brown house. I tried to get into there, but they're very strict and basically only go towards TV shows and so forth like that.
So
and that's the unfortunate part.
That's the joke. Right. Oh, I'm like, the big TV shows get into some of these places none of us will ever get into. What's sad is that the guy that got me into this told me, he's like, when I was doing paranormal investigating, there wasn't TV shows or anything, and I could get into about anywhere. I'd talk to people and be like, I'm a paranormal investigator. Like, really? What is that? And tell me to do. Like, sure, why don't you? And now he'd go to a place and be like, oh, not another ghost hunter.
Yeah. Or they're like, do you have $2,000 and $1 million insurance policy?
Right, exactly. I mean, you got to have the insurance policy for damages and injury, and man, you get into some of these big places. Even if you have all that, you're still not getting in.
Yeah. So how many viewers you have? Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm out.
How many guests can you get us? Okay, no. Okay, never mind.
Right.
But that's the sad thing. We got more of an awareness, more people that believe it, but also a little bit of an annoyance from some of these places that are like, oh, more ghost hunters. No. All right. Well,
and that's why.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's why I don't get too upset when I hear certain locations got to go away from that aspect. You just want to be a legitimate business.
Yeah, you can't blame them. But you know what? It helped you get business, people. It helped you get business. Don't forget it. I like I said, I hope Stanley Hotel changes their policy and they start opening up more ghost hunts or whatever. Because I mean, if anything, at least you can get a room there. And experience it. Do your little EVP session in the room. That's what I'm gonna do one day, man. Maybe if I head up to Colorado, it'll be like we go rent rooms there together and compare notes. But
that'll work.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. When we're gonna go to commercial break here, and when we come back, I want to kind of go through your couple videos you have off your. I think Jeff has got them ready. I think he's got them. But play a couple of videos of some of the evidence you have off of your page. It's a Supernatural Serenity.
Yeah.
Is the Facebook page. Yeah, we're going to play some stuff from that. So, guys, we're going to share some paranormal evidence of that and get in more of paranormal theory. Maybe talk a little bit tonight about, what Jay here, your theories are on how ghosts are communicating, where we're going with paranormal investigation. Get into some of that tonight as well. And the phone lines will be open when we come back. Don't forget, you can call in at 219-230-4444. Skype IDs OOJBland OO. Or Soup live chat 800 live chat. That video Skype line you can call in and we can see you. Jay can't see you; he's on the phone. But you can call in and we can see you. So that line should be open. But we will be back for people listening on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Don't forget we are webcast. You can watch us at Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. For everybody watching and listening, go to LateNightInTheMidlandsRadioNetwork.com. Donate, subscribe. Without you, we wouldn't be able to have all these great shows and these great hosts. Help keep this network going. We need your help with those donations and subscriptions. All right, we'll be back with our guest, Jay Wyrick from Supernatural Serenity, and we're going to play some of his paranormal evidence that he's had on his page. So, I love that stuff, EVPs, spirit boxes. I love showing that stuff on the show. It's one of the reasons I started doing this, for paranormal investigators to come on and share their evidence, because to me, that's the beauty of paranormal. I'm a EVP addict. If you get an EVP, send it my way. I want to hear it, because it's like a glimpse into what the other side is like. At least what it sounds like with an EVP. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
You said before you were waiting for a sign. What sign are you waiting for?
Gozer the Traveler. He will come in one of the pre-chosen forms. During the rectification of the Voldrani, the Traveler came as a large and moving torb. Then, during the third reconciliation of the last of the McKettrick supplicants, they chose a new form for him, that of a giant slore. Many Shubs and Zools knew what it was to be roasted in the depths of the slore that day, I can tell you.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Jay Wyrick. He's the founder of Supernatural Serenity and a writer and chief editor for ParaNation Magazine. We're talking to him about his experiences as an investigator, ghost theory, paranormal theory. We're going to get into that tonight. And, of course, we have his evidence here we're going to play here very shortly. You can call in. You just got to wait until we call you. The phone lines are open. You can call in at 219-230-4444. There is also the Skype ID OOJBlandOO. And then there's the video Skype line, Soup live chat 800, or Soup. Oh man, I'm totally butchering that now. Soup chat 800 live chat. I believe I got it right. They'll post it in the chat rooms here on Facebook. Sadly, I'm still not in the L&M. L&M has their own chat room. I will eventually get into it. It's only through PC. They don't have it for the mobile yet. When they get the mobile back up, I'll be able to get on it, because I already got too many PCs running stuff. But I do want to get in that chat room. But anybody that's in that chat room, hello. Sorry I'm not there. But you can come check us out on Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup's Facebook page. We are a webcast. You can watch us there. A lot of great people in that chat room, as well as I'm sure there are in the Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network's chat room. But you can join us in either of those chat rooms. They will post the Paranormal Soup call-in lines. So if you want, call in. Just hang out until we call on you. But let's get back to the show. You still there with us, Jay?
Yes, I am.
So let's see. Now, you sent me 2 clips. I'm going to get Jeff here. Hopefully, if you can start getting those pulled up here. I don't know which one he's going to pull up. I had two clips you sent me. This one I see, it says Supernatural Serenity, Cripple Creek, Outlaw, and Lawman. So what is this we're about to watch?
That's actually 2 EVPs that I got on my actual 4K recorder, video recorder. Actually, I just mentioned those a little bit earlier where, it was a female voice that said help, and then, right after that was the whole just leave aspect from a spirit box. So,
what's the location though? This Cripple Creek. What's the background for this?
That was the prison museum.
So this is the prison museum. Yeah. Oh, awesome, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
This is the first time, like 2 months ago, I want to say, when I went there with Aaron, the co-founder. We went there to go kind of scope it out a little bit, and then last night we went back there again.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead and play it, Jeff. Maybe turn it up a little bit, Jeff. I can hear it. I heard it. See if you can get him to turn it up. Yeah, see if you can turn it up, Jeff. It's hard to hear what's going on. Sound like a remix of it there, but hold on, he's gonna get it here. We didn't get a chance to test this out beforehand, so apologize. I heard that. That was the help EVP. That's an EVP, right?
Yeah, that's an EVP.
What? Battery dying? For real?
I almost hear "help me" in it, not just "help." I almost hear the "help me" in it. Go ahead and play that again, Jeff. Hold on. Let's see. I think it cut when you were trying to do it. Try it again, Jeff. Now I'm not hearing it, but I think it's cutting out or something right when he was doing it. But I heard almost help me in there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes to tell. I mean, I do it with big headphones on, so I mean, I try to keep the volume up as loud as possible, and that's why occasionally I'll repeat something with it, so that way others can hear. But I when you pointed that out, I kind of realized that was a follow up too. Yeah,
and it's definitely a female's voice. Go ahead and try to see if we can play that again, Jeff. Yeah. That clip is really quiet. That's the one that's coming from the spirit box. He's got the volume on that one. Ends up being really low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear "help me" for sure.
What? Battery dying? For real?
That besides the getting EVPs to say "get out," which are very common, "help me" is like the right up there with it. Like I had quite a few EVPs where I've gotten "help" or "help me," and on the spirit box, but EVPs, a lot on the spirit box, but but that's clearly a woman saying "help me." I hear it totally.
Yeah, and in the
I was going to say that's one thing that I kind of get frustrated because I get a lot of "help" or "help me," and then you ask, how can I help you, and you don't get an answer.
Yeah,
maybe you don't want the answer.
Yeah, maybe not, but at the same time, I still do. It's like somebody's asking for help. I'm like, what do you want me to do? How can I help?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there should be one other clip here, too, that he shared with me, Jeff. If you should see if you can get that loaded up. So, yeah, you just were there again last night. But yeah, of course, you got to review the evidence. But you always wonder when you do a place like this more than once, you're going to end up with something that's the same voice. I've gotten that. Yeah, I don't know if you have, but like gone to a place before and you get another EVP, you might say something different, but you know it's that same voice. I always find that really interesting. All right, go ahead and see if we get this next clip to play. It says SSC is the theme at the beginning here.
Mm-hmm. At the beginning, yeah.
This footage from August 2014, Central City at Giplin History. Hold on. First looked like a light reflection, but it did not change in the open doorway. Oh, it's going by too quick for me to read. Giplin History Museum. Now, our video footage is share of it might not give it justice, but it seems like there's something moving I'm seeing, like a wispy shadow in the background.
Yeah. The thing that kind of threw me off about that is because, it wasn't centered on the actual lens itself. It was kind of off to the side a little bit. And I know the particular camera I shot that on has the IR light actually on the opposite side of where that was from.
Yeah, you kind of see like it's something walking by really fast. I mean, it almost seems like...
Yeah, and I was just doing just a regular scan of the room, so I didn't even know it was there, and in the doorway, because I figured, okay, they have some things on the walls that possibly could reflect some light, and I thought that's what it was at first, and then when it continued through the doorway, it's an old, unfinished floor, or it's scraped up and everything, it's just old original wood flooring, so it wasn't shiny or nothing, so, I posted that up to see if anybody could give me a better, reasoning behind what it could actually be other than a possible spiritual aspect.
What it reminds me of is an instance I had in my own driveway once. The house next to us, the before we ever moved in, the person living there drank Drano, I think it was.
Oh man!
Or not? I don't know if it was Drano or antifreeze or something really nasty, and killed himself sitting in the car right in the driveway next to my driveway. And before I ever knew about that, I was walking up my driveway and I saw like this kind of like translucent figure walking next to me in the other driveway. It was kind of similar to that a little bit is what it reminded me of. Because you can see like something's walking through. It's really light or faint. It might be hard for people to see, but they go check out Supernatural Serenity on Facebook where you can get your own clearer probably video than it is showing on here. And Jeff can probably get to your page and show anything else if you have anything else you want to show tonight. But that's pretty interesting. Now, what's the story behind? Was it called Gilpin?
The Gilpin, yeah. So that actual footage, and on there's a couple other EVPs and disembodied voices and stuff that I put up there in similar clips. But with this particular one, it was up in Central City. We were actually the first group to ever investigate it, which is actually kind of a big deal for us at the time. And, it still kind of is. And with it, it was like the old schoolhouse. And after the town started to expand, and they started, building out. They built a new school, and that one kind of turned into just an old storage facility. And now it's a generalized museum with everything from, Black Hawk and Central City, to kind of remind. I mean, they got one room that's just a schoolhouse, like all the old desks and stuff from the old schoolhouse. Then there's another one that has a bunch of dolls and stuff, which we got some decent evidence.
Always the dolls.
Right, and then, in between the two rooms, in between the two rooms, there's like a Native American room. And in that one, there might actually be another video on the website where a light just turns on its own.
Hey, Jeff, hold on a second. Jeff, go ahead and see if you can pull up anything from you can pull up the Supernatural Serenity page. We'll see if we got some more stuff we'll play. Because I love evidence, man. I love playing this stuff. So I'm just going to see if we can pull that up. Maybe we can play some more stuff tonight. But you talk about that place being a museum. It's not just, it can be just that the place is a little haunted, but it's all the stuff they brought into it, the
Right.
haunted objects. Now, what's your experience with haunted objects? Have you got to investigate anything you felt was like a haunted object?
I did have one residential that we did several years back that the individual believed that he inherited something that was like a family heirloom aspect of it. And he believed that something was attached to the object, and he felt that it kind of bounces back and forth between being attached to him and attached to the object. And, we went there, we did our investigation. Obviously, residential, we don't post that stuff for their privacy, but, there were some things that we kind of debunked and said, okay, this is probably what this is. But there's a few things like when we would do, at the time we were just mostly using Spirit Box, but we would get some things coming across that was intelligently responding back to us. And we kind of figured that it was like almost a prankster type, so maybe it was like a relative of his that was just messing with him because that's just the personality they had. That was actually one where, we were talking and it said my name, and I was like, "Oh crap!" What's going on?
It says your name. It's like, oh, you know me?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, "Hey, what's up?" You said my name, and it's like, "You're stinky," and I was like, "What did I do?"
Now you're insulting. I've been, it's stuff you can't say on FCC radio. I've had
Right.
those say to me on EVPs. I've had them say, "I hate you," and other foul mouth language. It's like, geez, what did I do to you? And I don't know about you, but I don't go in like, all Zach Baggins and in their face. I go in very politely and introduce myself because you never know who you're talking to. He does have the page pulled up, but we got somebody on the phone line I want to get here before we get to some more of your evidence. But we'll have you see if you want to call out a video or whatever, and we'll get Jeff to it. So think about that for a moment.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and bring on our phone call. Who we got? Oh, yeah, I know who we got on. We got Zach. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. You always got great questions, or maybe you got your own. You've had a lot of good paranormal stories lately. But what we calling in for tonight, Zach?
Oh, just one question. That's all I have.
All right.
Hey, it's very nice to meet you, sir. I have one question. You've done many investigations. My question to you is, what is your favorite investigation that you have done? Why? And what was your favorite piece of evidence that you caught from that investigation?
There's quite a bit of them, obviously. I would probably say the thing that I kind of always go back to for myself, as far as, kind of doing it the right way, would be the Jerome location I mentioned before. And it's just because for me, that was the first time I was involved with a Spirit Box that was such a call and response, back and forth conversation piece. And, it kind of stuck with me to the point that every time I kind of go forward and I do either a Spirit Box or white noise or just regular, trying to get a disembodied voice, EVP or something like that, I try to recreate that as best as I can.
Okay, cool. And since you mentioned the Jerome Grand Hotel investigation, where did you find the most activity at in the hotel?
It was actually at one point in time, I heard they may have torn it down, was the old hospital. So if you've ever been to the actual hotel, it kind of winds up a small road up to the hill. Well, just as you're going up the hill, there used to be, I don't know if it's still there or not, an old, basically condemned building where on the first floor was remodeled for 2 shops. And it was in that actual building that, for me, had the most actual evidence and, experiences that happened there. Now, the hotel itself still had a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a few pictures from a previous group that I was with at the time that, stood out, and they had some, shadow figures at the end of hallways and floating up in corners right, next to a light or something like that. So there's quite a bit there if you were to go there yourself these days.
I've been up to the Jerome Grand Hotel twice. I live out in Arizona, and Jerome's one of my favorite places to go. I mean, I love going up there, and I definitely make it a stop of mine to always go up there to the Grand Hotel because
it's one of the places I want to go to for sure. Yeah.
Well, Jason, next time you're out here in Arizona, I'll take you up there,
man. Totally. We'll smoke. we'll go paranormal investigate, and then when we're done, we'll smoke some cigars. I'll probably puke, but
just don't
I'll
pour
smoke
gas on them and light them on fire.
Right. Well, thanks for calling in, Zach.
Hey, thank you so much, Jason, for allowing me to call in. Jay, thank you so much for answering my questions, and also thank you for your service.
Oh, hey, no, thank you, man. I love the support, and I love, just having conversation with people about the paranormal.
All right, have a great night, Zach.
Likewise, Mom. You too, man.
But yeah, we're gonna pull up your videos here in a second. But yeah, that's one of the places I've always wanted to go to. I've been to Arizona, but when I was a kid, I didn't get to go. Now it's like I pick up all these places I want to hit up paranormal wise. I want to go on a paranormal vacation. That's one of the places like you can totally like go on a vacation to go to like pick out all the different hotels you want to go to.
Yeah.
They should do that with a National Lampoon's Haunted Vacation.
Oh yeah, they get an agency to do it just for paranormal, investigation.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Yeah, a hotel is the easiest thing because maybe you don't get to investigate the whole hotel, but you can also find out what the most haunted hotel room is, and book it for the night and have your own little mini investigation inside that hotel room and see if you experience something. I've always wanted to plan out like a vacation to do that, like just hit up a bunch of different hotels. I don't know. I might have to wait till my kids are old enough. A little young. I don't want them to have that freaky paranormal experience yet. But I know that they are one of their favorite cartoons is Scooby Doo, so they're into the mystery. All right, so Jeff is going to pull up. Hey, Jeff, go ahead and pull up that page. Let's see if we can find. So do you have another video you can think of to point out or a title of something? Because I'm looking at them here. Let's see.
A good one that again from the Gilpin. Was the Supernatural Serenity Gilpin Museum. It's the 5-minute long one, but I was actually watching the monitor. It has several different camera angles, but this actually happened with Aaron, the co-founder, and I was actually watching the DVR downstairs, and it was actually pretty interesting. I don't know how loud the volume is on it, but I do know from his handy cam that he had, you can actually hear a couple, like a snickering a little bit, and couple little very light things, and then all of a sudden a light turns on.
Do you have a time point in that video he might be able to go to?
Do
you remember? We can try to play it out and find it.
Yeah, if you kind of go to the middle of it, it should be like both cameras, so you can actually kind of watch the DVR camera and his handy cam at the same exact time, and you can kind of see his reaction to the whole thing.
Okay. Well, go ahead and play it, Jeff. Let's see if maybe we can fast forward a little bit and catch up to that point. Let's see here. Following footage is from August 2014 investigation of Central City at the Gilpin History Museum.
Yeah.
See if you can turn the volume up a little bit too.
Well, the camera's been on for like 35 minutes now, so if we want to stay up and show.
All right, let's see. Let's go a little bit ahead and see if we can get to the part he's talking about.
I'm gonna stand up.
You said there'll be like 2 security monitors?
Yeah, it'll be like a dual screen. I put, the security monitor and his handy cam, so you can kind of line them up. I believe it's about halfway through it.
There it is. There it is. I think you found it. There. So I'll let you fast forward. Sometimes these videos don't let you fast forward. It's like, oh, come on.
That must be rough.
He's trying. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Here we go. Don't hear anything though.
I'm gonna stand up.
There we go.
that give me the chills. And nobody can't turn that lights on unless
It's motion censored on the other
I got the
side.
chills right now.
He isn't going to swear, is he? I gotta make sure that.
He stops himself like as he starts to because he's
okay.
very proper.
Right.
But I don't think he completes anything. No. I do apologize if he does.
All right. Now we're to a single camera. Is it only when you have the two cameras up that it happens?
It's the same incident that I just kind of put on there. Yeah. So I mean, the whole aspect of it, like, because it was motion sensor, we turned everything to manual at that point, which was the big shock for him. Why he was, stunned with it, and then I mean, he moved, so you hear how creaky everything is. So for someone to move that, you would definitely hear somebody.
Yeah, no kidding. Now you said there was some snickering.
I believe it's. Yeah, that would probably be more closer to the beginning of it, but I don't know if I turned up the volume loud enough to kind of hear that.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to hear when it comes through on the But again, people, you go check this out at Supernatural Serenity on Facebook. He's got all that up on there. You can check it out. All right, go ahead and close that one down, Jeff. Did you have any other ones you wanted to call out?
I mean, there's a couple EVPs based on some of the other ones from the Gilpin as well. It's unfortunate that I don't have as much as I would like to put up there just based off the individuals who were in it and the groups that I was with at the time when those, the evidence that came through. But, so it's just those two locations, unfortunately, for right now.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta get, you gotta get the permission, all that. Let's see. Look down the list, Jeff, and see. I see something that might be an EVP down there below. Another one from the Gilpin. It's 55 seconds long. Did we listen to that one yet? I don't know if there's another one that's 58. Let's see. Hold on. Go ahead and play that one. Told you, I'm an EVP addict.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
I think he's trying to play it. I might try again.
Oh.
See if it's audio. I might be able to get better audio of it, but I like to have the video.
Yeah, it's the videos just because we had posted them through YouTube at the time, so.
Let's see, I think he's getting it lined up. Go ahead and hit play there, Jeff. Sound like hello.
Yeah.
Play it again, Jeff. Huh. Not hearing it. Getting echo too. Try the other video next to it there. I want to see what that one is. It's like I hear that it says hey, then that's it, but I think the video was like cutting. Sometimes it doesn't want to share it very well. Let's see. One more try. We'll try this one. Same place, I believe.
Yeah.
says, "I am death." So
it was hard for me to make out. I kind of, put like the little text up there as best as I can make out. But that's why I post like stuff like that, because I could be mistaken. If somebody has a better idea, I mean, I'm always open to hear those sort of things.
You wonder if a spirit, if a spirit was deaf in real life and they're trapped somewhere else, are they deaf? They just can see you but can't hear you. That'd be awful.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
This says it was taken while on break. Nothing was added. That's what it said. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jeff, go ahead. We'll cut it from there. Yeah, people check it out, Supernatural Serenity, because sometimes we have trouble playing the videos on our end. So, but yeah, check it out because I love EVPs, and that one you wonder if it said I'm deaf or I am deaf.
Yeah.
Does the spirit I mean, you would think they'd be able to hear once they're on the other side, but who's to say they're not still afflicted from some condition on the other side? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't sure if they were saying if they were deaf or if they were like mocking us, saying we were deaf.
Oh, because you can't hear them.
Because I couldn't hear them right.
Right. Are you deaf? I'm talking to you. Yeah, it could be.
Well, one ear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, but I always wonder about these things because I've got EVPs that say cannot breathe. It's like are they still suffering on the other side, or they're trapped in their own like death scene or something along those lines? Because you get some of these like that that give you the creeps.
Yeah.
So now that you're doing this, you're investigating, and you talk about using spirit boxes and getting the white noise. Have you tried to like do something kind of make your own equipment or come up with your kind of own idea, like something new to add to the paranormal equipment list? Basically, I've seen some investors come up with some crazy stuff sometimes, trying to come up with something new.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very electrically inclined anymore, so I mean, I'm not really building anything out. I do like to try to revisit like old stuff that people have kind of pushed off or forgotten or just stopped using. I was just reminded recently of like the little 10-inch TVs, like the little school portable ones.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of using that and, take out the receiver out of it. Not that, everything's digital now anyways, but, just to be safe and kind of using that, trying to almost, use that for like the white noise and, maybe
the feedback. Or there's also, we were talking about like getting the old equipment and doing the video feedback. It's one thing I want to do. You have to have like the old video cameras and TVs to do it. And that's something I've wanted to experiment with, because they say spirits can use that to manipulate and communicate through. And seen some really weird evidence come from video feedback. But even just of course, the classic Poltergeist movie, where you get the fuzz on the TV, you don't get that anymore on TVs, that old station fuzz. So yeah, you kind of have to get one you pull the receiver out of to do that. I'll remind the audience again, we do have the phone lines open. You can call in at 219-230-4444. Skype IDs are OOJBland00 or Soup live chat 800 live chat. You can call in on the video Skype line, but call in. Let us know about your own paranormal experience. Are you living in a haunted house right now? I'd love to hear it. Like I said, you got a number of paranormal investigators here. I'd love to hear your story, or you got a question for our guests. Go ahead and call in. All right. So you're doing these investigations now. Do you do some residential investigations too, right?
Yeah, actually, I'd probably go and say, as far as Supernatural Serenity is concerned, we've gotten more offers and we've done probably more residential than we have like actual big locations because they're free most of the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same here.
And you get to have like one-on-one with the individuals that actually have the experiences. I mean, for me, that's just as important, because I'm big on the historical aspect of, the investigations overall. So when I sit down and I talk to, the owner or the resident of the house, it's the full aspect and it's more personable than, showing up. Like, not that I have anything against, like the Cripple Creek jail. I love that place, but it's not as personal as maybe going to residential, even though I'm still creeped out about being in someone else's house at nighttime running around in the dark.
Oh, yeah. No, but I've always told people I don't do a lot of the big locations. I do mainly residential because I've lived in a haunted house, and my first apartment with my wife was really haunted, and all that. I've had a lot of crazy paranormal experiences all my life, so I like dealing with people on a personal level that are living in it and dealing with it. To me, that's what I'm most interested in. Some of the most craziest evidence I've gotten has come from a residential location.
Yeah, I had some friends of mine that I had to miss it. I wasn't feeling the greatest, so they went on without me, and they had done one, and they had this footage that they showed me afterwards where something actually got thrown at them. You know, a little like a stone from what looked like the little. You know, some people have like the little jars, like little stones for some reason. I don't know
Yeah.
the purpose of them all, but it was like a stone that was chucked at them, and I was like, why would you chuck stones at yourselves? You know,
Right.
because it's an odd thing, but yeah, it did. And I mean, the only other, living thing in the house at the time was a dog. So, and I highly doubt the dog. If the dog can do it, that's a talented dog.
Yeah, well, that'd be crazy in itself. One of the reasons too, I love the residential is because, big historical location. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of residual evidence, and residual evidence is cool and all, but I'm really into the conscious, the live spirit, in a sense, the spirit that's like, intelligent.
The intelligent responses.
Yeah, well, because I feel like I can make some kind of rapport with them and get some kind of communication with it. Residual, you're kind of like fishing for the time frame when that residual entity's gonna, when it's gonna rewind and play. That's what I feel like. That's why I love the residentials, because I feel it's more usually intelligent. I mean, there's definitely residuals in residential hauntings, but a lot of times when there's these houses, they're not that old. It's not that kind of history. It's something else, and that's why I've always enjoyed it. What's your most interesting? I mean, I know you can't give out names or locations on residential, but what's your most interesting residential case you've done?
There was a house that I went and investigated, and the woman that was living there wasn't really too sure what was going on. She just thought she was, had some sort of a haunting, and so we went out there. And at first, it was just boring. It's like, okay, there's just not a whole lot here, and then it was just all of a sudden, it basically started for us where it seemed like someone was just kind of following around. Kind of. Again, it's like I'm not like a medium or psychic or anything, but like when you're in a room, you can tell there's other people in the room with you. Like you may not know, who's all there or whatnot, but for the most part, if you walk into a room, you go, okay, there's plenty of people. If you're close your eyes and you plug your ears, if you can do that, I mean, you can still say, okay, I can feel people moving around. The atmosphere is changing a little bit.
It's a feeling of a presence around you. Yeah, I know
exactly. So we started with that, and it was like, okay, this is a little more along the lines of what we were hoping for, but we were trying to get something that we can put either on a recording or have a video of it or something. And after a while, it just kind of almost. So we would be like on one side of the house, and then we'd like hear this knocking on another side. So okay, we'll go over here where the knocking is, and then we get over there, and then it's like okay, and then we hear the knocking. On another one, and as we're walking back and forth, it was like, someone was just walking past us, like they're just messing with us the whole time, so we ended up running around in circles quite a bit, but that one we actually got a little bit, we actually put together a little package and presented it to her and say, well, we can't really say what it is because it wasn't as interactive as possible, but it definitely likes to put everybody on a wild goose chase, which meant it was highly intelligent and knew exactly what it was doing, and it probably done it to pretty much everybody, and it kind of lined up with what she was going with. Unfortunately, I haven't had any kind of like huge poltergeist type, doors fling open and the gates of hell, just
I don't think
pouring
most
out of
people
it.
have had that, I think that those are the rare cases. People get into paranormal investigating and expect, Hollywood gives them this expectation.
Yeah.
But like you said, you sit around most of the night for hours in dark and quiet, and you can hear the crickets chirping. Nothing's happening.
Right.
But sometimes when you get done with the investigation, though, you nothing happened, or you felt like that much. You might have got, like you said, some feelings, but then you start listening to the audio, and these voices will come through, and you're like, where were that's where the spirit boxes become like people get so into those because it's so immediate. But man, you don't realize what you're getting sometimes on these recorders and what's happening around you until after you go and review.
Yeah, actually, Aaron had taught me when I first met him back in 2012, I want to say. He was always plugging into his little digital recorder or headset and listening to it live. So, he would actually get those kind of pop-ups where, if he heard something, you may not quite understand or hear correctly everything, but like something responded.
Oh yeah,
so
real-time recording, and I love that. I just recently in the last couple years found a way to do it without, because back when I started to get like a parabolic microphone and a real-time recorder, really you could listen to at the same time. They weren't cheap. They weren't cheap. And some of them that would claim to be real-time really weren't. They would like be delayed by like 2 or 3 seconds, and you'd actually get the audio coming through the headphones picking up again on the recorder. It'd be messed up. I've had bad ones like that. You know what I discovered? If anybody's got an iPhone, there's an app out there. It's actually for radio podcasting. It's called Boss Jock. And you can literally you can use it as a little real-time microphone. It works great. You just plug in your little headset with the microphone on it, or you can attach an external microphone with a headset splitter, and you can listen in real time off your phone, recording it, and you can hear. And using it the times I've used it, I've heard EVPs in real time come across, and that's an awesome thing when you hear an EVP in real time.
Yeah, and that's kind of happened last night. We were working with the white noise, and we had real-time recording. So we got a little bit of response, and we got a little bit of back and forth, which was pretty exciting. We just got to kind of look at it in post to make sure we weren't, mistaking anything.
No, but that's exactly what I want to get into more. I want to do experiment, because like I said, I got away from white noise. I really want to get back into it. And when I was doing it back in the day, I didn't have real time. I didn't have a real time parabolic mic with me or anything. So you don't hear it. But now I'm interested. Now that I can do real time to listen to the to the audio of that white noise and see if I'm going to hear something. Because we got somebody on the phone line I want to get to here in a second, but I want to get in the conversation again about kind of stochastic resonance and the white noise and how they might be able to use that to communicate, and with the microphone you're listening through. But I want to take this phone call. We got Laura Lee on the phone line. How you doing tonight, Laura Lee?
I'm great, thanks, Jason. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for calling in.
Hi, Jay. You're really great guest. Really interesting to listen to, and some wonderful evidence.
Well, thank you, Laurie.
I did have a question. You're welcome. I did have a question for you, and Jason kind of almost asked it. What I was going to ask, well, what had happened, I had a few I was calling the wrong line, Jason, so I realized this is the one that was working better.
Yeah.
So I live in a haunted house, actually. Our episode has been featured actually this season on Paranormal Survivor, but I was interested because you said you do a lot more residential, and Jason had asked sort of what was the best thing you had caught evidence-wise with residential. I caught part of it, but have you actually caught any apparitions or really, really interesting EVPs, or that was what mine was basically the question.
We've done some things, and I know one of the ones, with the grid light, we've had some pretty interesting shadow movement with grid lights. We've done some EVPs and some spirit box sessions and stuff, and I'd mentioned before, the one that we thought was a prankster that was from an inheritance attachment for the individual living there that said I stunk and everything like that, and had some interesting comments at that point. Yeah. I've gotten things like that. Unfortunately, a lot of the ones that we go to for residential either has very minor kind of activity. Like the most ones, like we were mentioning before, it's a lot of, knocking or movement kind of aspects that we would hear. And occasionally we catch stuff like that on audio, we catch stuff like that on video, but unfortunately it's never like that golden goose type of evidence pieces from a residential that.
Yeah, that's what you want to go all the way up to Thunder Bay, Canada. There you go.
Thunder Bay, yeah, we're about 35-40 minutes from the Minnesota border. Like my husband's been thrown 15 feet.
Oh,
Scratches, burns. Actually, Jason Seraphine Hurley, who's also an L&M radio host like I am, we were talking the other day. We got a little female voice come through while we were talking.
Ooh. Yeah, literally, you get stuff on your Skype calls with people. I've heard. I remember Rhodey, you being on with another paranormal investigator, Rhodey Speak.
Oh yeah.
And her going, I see stuff. Rhodey don't play around.
No.
And she was seeing stuff in your
No, she had her face glued to the camera because she could see it in the background, yeah. So I apologize. I didn't mean to ask a repetitive question because I was trying to connect, but sounds like you got some interesting footage still but like you said, it's sort of minor things that you go to then usually.
You know what that is, like, Lorelei, too, I think is, you're talking about, you get a lot of minor things with residential. That is, most of the time you don't get a lot from residential, because when it is really good, like, I've had evidence brought to me from somebody living in a place, like I talked about this recently on our Halloween show, about I had this great video footage I played on the show, the cabinets open and closing and scaring the heck out of the woman recording it.
Yeah.
But the problem is I didn't get in there because if it's so bad, people just don't stick around. They get out. They move.
Yeah.
That's what these people did,
Well, we would have moved.
But you couldn't.
Except that, no, we can't. We can't. Like, this is just a crazy story. But
And of course
like,
you got to
my
be
house is
somewhere
full of
where...
black mold.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't even sell the house. Like, that's what's happened. Like, I would have sold the house and got out of here, but... my goodness, the easiest thing would be just to move out and just leave it and hope when nobody's here and long moved on, without jinxing anything, somebody just lit a match. Seriously.
Oh, no.
I said after we abandoned it and moved on.
I don't know how it burned down. Oh.
No, well, we'd be long gone. That's after we win the lottery. Like, that's a pipe dream too, but you never know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
so I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you guys too. It's coming up very soon.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm not doing a show next Sunday because I'm going to be, me, I work retail, so I'm going to be completely pooped out by next Sunday. So no show, no Paranormal Soup next Sunday. I'll be trying to recoup.
You know, it would have been cute, though. That sounded adorable, what Liam did with your turkey.
He's still awake up there, too, and I have to watch out because that kid will open up the fridge. I'm waiting for him to try to pull the turkey out and revive it or something. I don't know. He seemed pretty upset when we told him that was a turkey.
Yeah, he's quite the character. And congratulations to Dean, too. I had to say that, too, while I'm talking to you.
Oh, yeah, second place in his chess tournament. Yes, very proud Papa
right.
for his first chess tournament. He was so close to first. He would have won first. As people know, my son would have won first, but they decided to add one more round because the high school kids were taking so long in their tournament. And he was in first, would have won it, and they did one more round, and he lost his only game. He lost. Yeah, it was sucked. Well, thank
Jason,
you,
I was
Lorelei.
just impressed how young he is, that he's even playing at that level.
Right? You know what? I can't. I kick his butt on chess, but only because I have the cheater thing in a game. It tells me where the pieces go. And I'm like, I keep telling him, I keep beating him. I'm like, it's only because I got the cheating thing. If we played real chess, you'd have to tell me where things went because I can never remember. So I'm good with handicap, But thanks, Lorelei, for calling in.
Well, thanks for taking my phone call. And Jay, thanks. Really interesting guest as always. Jason has wonderful people on here. Thanks for taking my phone call, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, no, just the same. Bye.
But that's what I find with residential cases. It's like if it is really good, I mean, most time if people can get out, they will get out. From that, the one I was talking about, the video it was an apartment, so they easily could get out. They just broke their lease. That's what we did. I mean, that's what me and my wife did. Our first apartment was haunted. I woke up to a lady standing over me going, "Get out." And also seeing like a monstrous demonic face in this one room we wouldn't use, and we got out. My wife woke up to a lady. She was whispering like nicer things to her, but it's the same deal.
Right.
But we got out because we could not stand to be there alone. She'd work late nights, and I'd be there by myself, and I'd feel like, is she coming home early? I'd hear the front door or the back door was at the time open and close, and I'd be like, there's nobody there, and the person downstairs is asleep. I mean, it was crazy stuff. Even after we moved out, the person downstairs thought we were still there because they could hear footsteps and stuff running around. It was crazy activity. I mean, we saw faces coming through the wall, both of us together. And now that it was before we were paranormal investigators, both of us are. Now that I am, I'm like, man, I went back in there, But living in it, I didn't want to stay. I got out, and I've always been interested in these things, and I was, scooby doing it back then. But I wanted out. I didn't want to live in it.
Yeah, I had something similar to that with my last apartment. There was an elderly woman who passed away upstairs, and I befriended her because she had pretty cool dogs. And shortly after she passed away, I could swear to you that she would come by and whisper into my ear when I was trying to go to sleep and pet my hair and stuff like that. I'm like, look, go someplace else.
So what would happen? What would happen? Let me hear this, man, because I had that whisper in the ear. So what was it? You're laying there at night and you like hear her or see her or feel her or what?
It went on probably about 2 months after she passed away, and it started probably about a week after she did pass away. And I would just sit there and lay in my room, and I always sat there at first because I was a pretty bad insomniac at the time. I was like, okay, I'm just delusional, just whatever. I would hear a noise here and there, and it sounded like I would hear a whisper, but I was like, okay, maybe that's just somebody out on the street walking by, whatever. I'm half trying to get to sleep. And then after a while, it kept getting worse and worse, and I would actually hear like full words in my ear, and I would flip around, and there would nobody be there. I was like, okay, maybe I was half asleep or something, And then after a while, I would feel almost like someone would almost try to tuck me in, kind of thing, check on me, make sure I'm okay, And so it wasn't like anything crazy,
Well, I don't know. That's pretty crazy, Jay. But it's not crazy to me, but like to other people, that's kind of crazy. Well, what were some words? What was she trying to whisper in your ear?
Well, I heard, hey, hey, how you doing? Like, what?
Hey,
what are you talking?
Here.
Pretty much. I mean, that's kind of what it said. I heard my name a couple times, which that's when I really started kind of paying a little closer attention, because it's like, okay, maybe someone's walking by, outside, they're saying, hey, to their friend or something on the phone. But when they start saying my name, I was like, well, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, it's not just somebody walking out by if they're saying, hey, Jay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wake up, Jay.
Basically, and I remember one time, I felt like a pat on the back of my head, and I was like, okay, I'm not imagining that part. And I flipped around, and it was one of those things. I rotated, I kind of saw, her face for a second, and then just disappeared. And I was like, I gotta go somewhere.
So you saw her face? You saw her face come through to you?
Yeah, very briefly, but yeah, it was one of those things. And, like I said, it lasted for a little while, and then it seemed like she moved on to.
Well, maybe
somebody else.
You wonder, Jay. Did she know you were a paranormal investigator?
I don't think so. I kept
maybe
it
she
pretty,
figured it out, found out after she moved on. She's like, oh, my neighbor this whole time is a paranormal investigator. I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah, that could possibly be. Yeah.
Well, you wonder, and this is one thing that I've had instances, I've talked about it on the show, being a paranormal investigator. I mean, even before I was a paranormal investigator, my wife's always said, stuff follows me. But doing it, and you're going to places and say, hi, I'm Jay, won't you talk to me from the other side? You're giving, you are giving these scenes permission. How often have you ever experienced something you felt followed you home from an investigation?
It happens once in a while. I mean, I think that everybody, gets that once in a while, like a day or two after an investigation. And, I have dogs, so it's like the dogs will kind of be acting a little crazy, a little strange. You'll hear things walking around your house, like, my current place, after doing one time, it's like I walked out and, kind of saw, a pretty quick movement of a shadow. And one time I saw, like not a full body, but a partial body apparition kind of sitting there. And for a while, I thought I was completely losing myself. I actually went and saw a shriek, and I was like, look, I'm seeing stuff,
Oh, wow. So what were you seeing? I mean, because I had a really dark occurrence where I did see a psychologist during that period of time when I was 17. Before I was an investigator, it drove me to that. But I know that feeling trying to talk to somebody about it, and it's really difficult to. Well, what were you seeing? I mean, what was it like? What was I love the details. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no. And this time, because I think if you kind of chase after the stuff long enough, you start to see stuff on a regular basis when they want you to see them, sort of thing. But here, like a couple years back, specifically, it was like Christmas time, so there's Christmas lights and stuff, and so for a while I'd walk out, and we have this little angel topper that everybody typically has, and that angel topper, I come walking around a corner into the hallway, and I look out there, and the angel topper was a face looking at me.
What?
Yeah, I don't know who it was. I have no clue.
Yeah.
And that went on for a while. Actually, I had enough of it.
You see it like multiple times.
Yeah. Several times actually, and it got to the point where I went and actually talked to somebody about it. He was like, "Look, I think I'm losing it. I think I'm worse off or something. I don't know. There's just something going on." And after they said, "Well, you don't have any other traits of schizophrenia or anything, so maybe I don't know.
Maybe you're seeing ghosts."
I was like, maybe you're overstressed is what that was.
That's what they will say. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was going to be my comment. Is like as paranormal investigators, I think we all put up with a lot more weird stuff than the normal person would, but there seems like at least once a week where I'm like, am I losing my mind? And
Yeah.
I need help. Did I really hear that? Did I really see that?
I'll never forget. I did a place called that was famous in this area, and now it's a factories there, but it was a home that was built on top of a famous site for our county here, LaPorte County. It was a Belle Guinness. She murdered over 40 people, and then most likely faked her death and got away. And after murdering her children, somebody else she faked as her body. Look up Belle Guinness, crazy story. But after doing that investigation, I had one investigator swear it was following him home, and he quit for a while, quite a while, because of it. The stuff happened to me. Stuff happened to him, but what happened to me, I walk into what now is my son Leon's room, but then it was my office. I walk in, I turn around the corner, and I see this dirty, like dirty sooty gray dress. And little feet of a girl. Maybe she was like 12, 13 years old, I'm guessing, but I couldn't see her face because she was floating up and her head was like in the ceiling, so I couldn't see her face. I just saw her floating there. I turned and looked, and it was there for like 1, 2, 3, gone. And man, I get the chills even still thinking about it. It was not, and then it was not long after that. Me and my wife were going to bed, and the lights is completely dark in our room. You could see a little bit of the moonlight coming in, but you could see like this same shape of the same kind of girl I saw hovering over me and waving her arms over me. And my wife's like, "Oh, time to ward the house again." Right? Because these things follow you home, and the Belle Guinness thing was scary to follow you home because like the people, they were having spontaneous fires in that home.
Wow.
So you worry, what can you bring home? There's a famous case there's a lot of video documentation of it. San Pedro, California, I think maybe it was. Jackie Barrett. No, not Jackie Barrett. That's somebody else. I know her name was Jackie. This woman was haunted, and the investigators investigated. The one investigator up in the attic almost gets choked to death. The walls bleeding, all kinds of crazy stuff. But I remember seeing the stuff from the investigators when they went home, finding the ovens being turned on and something put on top of the oven to catch on fire. All this really psychokinetic activity that's dangerous. It's trying to kill him. Yeah. And he found out from a psychic medium that the spirit thought he looked like the person that murdered him. And that's why it was haunting him. It literally went after him. You wonder if eventually one day, Jay, you're going to walk into a location where you stir something up, and it's I don't like that Jay guy. I'm going to go home with him and mess with him. Do you ever worry about that?
I mean, there's always this sense of worrying about it. I mean, I try to keep myself as cleansed and protected as possible. I mean, throughout most of my adult life, anytime I meet up with some sort of a holy person, regardless of religion, I usually say, give me a quick blessing, just to be on the safe side.
Get one of those quick time blessings? I need one. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those paranormal investigators. You might want to bless me, give me the triple dose.
Yeah. Give me the Satan level one. Just give me whatever you got.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything weird that happens at my work, I get blamed because I'm the paranormal investigator. Oh yeah. I know. It's because we bring the weirdness with us. But yeah, as a paranormal investigator, you do have to think. We call it ghost contamination. You don't know what ghost you're bringing with yourself into a location, right? And what you're going to bring home. I've seen investigators have the walk-in experience. It's scary. That's the scariest investigation I was on. Having my friend Judy have a walk-in experience where she was not herself. She was even frozen for a good minute, not moving and not responding, and then didn't remember any of it hardly at all. Afterwards, there are a little bit, it's not like Hollywood, but Jay, you got to experience. You got to know there are some little bit of dangers to paranormal investigating that people aren't aware of that can happen, and I've seen it turn people away. Once it's happened to them, they're done. I'm not investigating anymore. I've seen it. People I quit because of it because they see all the TV shows and it's gonna be fun, and then something like that happens, like a walk-in experience, or they get scratched, something negative. We're gonna go to a commercial break here before we get the last half hour of the show. For people, we are on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. We need your help. Go donate, subscribe, Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network.com. You can go there. You'll find the donation button or the subscription button. You can subscribe, get access to our full archive. We have a ton of new hosts on this network that are great shows. Check it out. Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. We just had Laura Lee call in. She has Angel Rock on Monday through Friday, and I'm going to get the time wrong, so I'm not going to say it. I'm sorry, Laura Lee. But check it out. You'll find her show, Angel Rock, on L&M. Seraphine Hurley, she was talking about a lot of great hosts. Paraversal Universe, Kevin and Jennifer, Michael Vera's, Late Night Midlands, Heather Wade, Kingdom of Nye. I mean, such great shows. We need your help to keep this network going. You can't find any other radio network like it around. So go check out Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Donate, subscribe. All right, we'll be back with our guest, Jay Wyrick, in just a few minutes, and the phone lines are still open. Call in 219-230-4444 or Skype ID JBland00 or the Soup Live Chat 800 Live Chat. Video Skype line should be open. All right, guys, we're back in just a few minutes.
Heat 'em up.
Do, re, egon.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, if you are just checking in, it's the last half hour of the show. We have paranormal investigator Jay Wyrick with us from Supernatural Serenity. He's also editor and chief writer for ParaNation Magazine. So we're talking to him about his experiences as a paranormal investigator, and we have the phone lines open. You can call in, tell us, are you living in a haunted house right now? We got some great people here to talk to tonight. If you are, get our advice. I'd love for you to call in and tell us about your experience. Or are you a paranormal investigator, need some tips, or have some own evidence you want to talk about? Call into the show. Anything you want to call in about when it comes to the paranormal, this is a place to call. We are a paranormal forum for you to share your stories and experiences, because we're all open-minded and nobody judges you here. That's why I do this show. So call in at 219-230-4444, or there's Skype ID JBland00, or there's also the video Skype call-in line, Soup Live Chat 800 Live Chat. We're taking your calls. You can call in right now, and let's get back to our guest. Still there with us, Jay?
Yep, still here.
All right, so we're talking. I want to get back to a little bit. You're talking about getting back into experimenting with white noise. What do you have your own theories about what makes EVPs, or why white noise works?
It's always kind of difficult, because when you sit down, you're talking about the communication aspect of it. I mean, you got to take into consideration of, what is the entity itself, and how they interact with the world around us. For the EVP aspect, I mean, that seems to be very popular as far as the most common evidence aspect. And to me, it kind of feels like it's a little easier, especially if you're using something like white noise or even a spirit box. It's easier because there's energy already there, and I would think it's easier to manipulate something that's already there versus like an EVP, where you just have the camera out there and you got the individuals there. That to me would seem like it would take a little more energy, to promote that kind of communication itself.
You wonder what kind of energy they need to take to do it, and you wonder if there's any kind of pain involved. I've had some EVPs come across, or in some spirit box communications, that indicated that there's some pain involved to get the or loss of energy for them to get it through, get a message through. It makes you wonder what the dynamic is on the other side, what the cost is to the spirit, because obviously they're not chatting away consistently. It takes them something to get something through. They're not regularly talking to us. You can go through. I keep my sessions to 10 minutes to 15 minutes per session, because you could sit there for half an hour. You only got one thing in a space of 5 minutes.
Right. No, and because there's been plenty of times, I'm sure everybody who's, done a few sit-downs and try to do the communication, regardless of the conduit that you're using, I mean, for me, I get partial conversation, so it just drop off, all the time. And that's why I started thinking, it's like, okay, how much energy do they need, and I've kind of looked into things, it's like, how can I help provide other energy to assist along the way? Because, if they have something they need to say, if they have some sort of a story aspect or comments that they need to make, I mean, I want to hear them. I think everybody, living or dead, should have, their word, if they need to put in a word or two about some things. I mean, maybe there's something that we overlooked or something like that through research that, only they would know.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten, that's to me the best EVPs are the ones you get something you didn't know at the time, but you find out how related it is to the history of the location. I had one of my earliest investigations. I had one with a ghost puking, and it was where I captured the EVP. I didn't know somebody had died in that spot, and they had died from falling down the stairs, but that's not what killed them. It was suffocation of their own vomit, and they were drunk. And that, it's clear as day, it's just the sound of somebody puking. That's the EVP, and it related to that. The other thing I got at that investigation was really interesting too. Is I got one in the. I mean, I've had a couple other. It could probably be this, but this one was for sure. I got what I call a reverse EVP. It recorded in reverse. It came across really clear, like a little girl's voice, but it was jibber jabbish. It made no sense. And then I played it in reverse, and you hear, "Can you hear me, mommy?" That to me, and that was early on in my investigating. That to me has always said to me, wow, I knew about stochastic resonance and the idea that spirits can use sound or the little internal microphones are manipulating to be able to record a voice. But man, it throws everything out of the park if they're able to record something in reverse like that. How does that even work? My mind boggles at how that would even work. But it was clear. I mean, I've used that one on all my EVP presentations because I'm like, we really don't know how it's happening. To me, recording in reverse to me that'll throw me for a loop. I mean, it was like clear as day, like when it came through on the recording. And like I said, it was in between two other investigators talking.
Yeah.
And it was just clear as day, but the only reason I played it in reverse is because it didn't make any sense. I was taught if you get something that doesn't make any sense, but it's clear, play it in reverse and see what you get. And it was clearly a little girl saying, "Mommy, can you hear me now?" Like I said, that just throws everything out the window. Have you ever recorded any EVPs you were like played in reverse? And it was an actual message. Did you ever get that? Because it's rare for me, as I've really only had the one that I totally believe was a reverse EVP.
I personally haven't gotten one of those, but I did talk to somebody who, because to me that's a relatively new thing, like EVPs in reverse, just playing them in reverse in general. That's something that I just never thought of before. And then probably about a year and a half ago, because I had to take a break myself. Because I thought it was kind of funny. You mentioned there's people that had to stop for a while. I was one of the people that had to stop for a while.
That happens to every investigator. I've done it. I've taken my breaks from it.
Yeah, and I mostly just to cleanse myself, get rid of all the bad crap that basically followed me or attached to me and all that other kind of stuff. But when I was starting to come back into it, I was reaching out to a few people and, just trying to get back into it and see what differences and changes there was. And there's one gentleman, his name was Dave. I can't remember his last name now, but he was playing with these reverse EVP aspects. And then, he's like, sometimes, and he kind of mentioned sometimes things will come up jumbled up or something like that. And you have to play it backwards to hear a message or actually hear clearly what they're trying to say. But he was also just playing EVPs in reverse in general.
Yeah, just to see what he got, right?
Yeah, and then, I don't know, I guess something happened. Maybe one of the entities that recorded followed him and they didn't like that or something like that, because then he just said he's done. He's like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But I haven't gotten that yet, but if I've been kind of hoping with my fingers crossed that maybe I can get something that's in reverse.
It was when I was in the first year of my investigating. I gotten just the one. I have one other one maybe, but it's just not as clear in reverse for me to be 100% on it like that one was. So I always say I really just got the one that I'm for sure is a reverse EVP. But like I said, man, it throws everything out the window, and it makes me wonder. I mean, I don't know if you heard of Steve Huff. He just recently came out with something I've been wanting to do because we use different effects pedals and stuff with the an amp and portal apps and different stuff. He's done something I wanted to do. I don't have the pedal yet. It's called a reverse flashback pedal. It takes your audio, and 3 seconds later, it's going to pop it out in reverse. And he went and hooked up a little like Olympus recorder. Or he's got like a little handheld recorder and and the headphone jack out of it into his portal thing with the reverse pedal. And so there's no app, no anything. It's just taking his vocals and reversing them. Now, I watched him do it in his video, and I heard him say the same exact sentence twice. The first time he says it, something comes back, and there's a message. He says the same exact sentence, same way, and it comes back sounding like something else the next time around. In theory, it should be the same thing. Because it's just his vocals in reverse, but it seems like they're manipulated. And I'd talked to Steve about this on the show. One of the reasons I've always wanted that pedal, and I still haven't gotten it, it's on my Christmas wish list, is because that pedal takes that audio, and it takes like 2 or 3 seconds before you get that audio back. And it might be just enough time to give the spirits enough time to manipulate it. You know, now there's also the theory, there's a guy named David Oates who did reverse speech theory, where he believes stuff you say, if you play it in reverse, things from your subconscious are going to come out in that reverse speech.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Really, really interesting theory, and I've always been interested in that. But you know, somebody like Steve and myself, after having that reverse EVP, I wonder if there's something in reverse speech or using reverse audio that they can use to manipulate or something along those lines. Because there's something to reverse speech or something along those lines. I believe might be the new way of communication coming along. So your friend might have been onto something when he was messing with it. Maybe the spirits didn't like that. You always wonder if there's like paranormal police on the other side, like, or ghost police that like stop the communication. Like, oh, you're telling the mortals too much.
You know, and that would kind of, I know it's, you know, haphazardly joking, but I mean, you know, a lot of the things like people try to go out there is like, hey, what's going on over there? And they get very little, sometimes nothing at all as far as insight. Maybe it is something. Maybe it's like,
or they suddenly get quiet on you once you start asking what it's like on the other side, or it's like they give you too much information. Suddenly the line goes dead. And the spirits aren't talking anymore. We've gotten that on
maybe it's the law of. Maybe it's like some law of the universe or something. You know?
Well, you wonder if there's like some kind of other spirits on the other side policing it.
That's what it feels like sometimes, for sure.
Yeah, we do the Spirit Box sessions live on the show. I swear we get onto some topics. Like I like to bring up there's a paranormal UFO theory about the moon being like a soul capacitor and aliens like take our souls and that. I'll bring that up with the Spirit Boxes, and they'll start chatting about the moon, and then it'll just get quiet. Like they get excited about it, but then something shuts the hammer down. We don't get to find out our aliens, trapping our souls on the moon. I know, crazy paranormal soup stuff, but you know that
FCC.
Yeah, like there's a Spirit FCC. Yeah, they're like, oh no, you can't talk about that.
You've been cut off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But doing this too, you know, do you still have like the bug for not just ghosts and that? Do you still want to like go crypto hunting or even UFO hunting?
I'm always open to just about anything. I mean, you know, if I were to hook up with someone, they're like, yeah, you know, we're gonna go chase after these UFOs, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I've never done it before, but you know, why wouldn't I want to go off and have an experience where, you know, I can't explain, it's a true UFO, I don't know what it is, I can't explain what it is.
Have you had that experience? Have you seen a UFO?
There's been a few incidences where there was, you know, pre-drone lights in the sky that didn't make any sense.
That's always a suspect now, but yeah.
Yeah, now it's, I got caught by it like 6 months ago. I was on my balcony, and I was like looking out there, just hanging out, you know, enjoying the night air, and I'm like, whoa, what's that? And I'm looking at it, I'm staring at it, and it's just kind of going back and forth, and I'm like, that's a bloody UFO, you know? And then I was like, oh no, it's just a drone, never mind.
Oh, that's the worst. It's like, you damn drone enthusiasts, you're ruining it for us UFO people.
Right.
You're ruining it for us. Now I have to suspect everything I sky is if it's a drone or not. Any video footage now I get, is it a drone? You know, I have to wonder about that now. But you had experiences pre-drone. What did you see when you were pre-drone, UFO-wise?
You know, a lot of it was in Florida, you know, with the NASA station down there, because I lived right about Orlando. So, I mean, I got to see all that fun stuff. But, you know, when I was growing up there, you know, I'd look up and I'd see, you know, light patterns that didn't match up with stars, and they didn't really match up with the lighting patterns because, you know, Orlando Airport's not too far, but it were too many lights, or, you know, only like one or two lights that would move in a very sporadic pattern. And, you know, there's still one, but I'm not sure if I was delusional because I was still pretty young at the time. You know, I'm pretty wild imagination, but, you know, at the time I could, and I go with my younger self, you know, pretty good intuition as a kid, but, you know, I could swear to you that there was a triangle spaceship that was fairly low down to the, you know, enough to see a triangle spaceship flying over my head.
I'm jealous. I'm already jealous. I had an amazing UFO encounter where I had like a pillar like UFO go right over my head, only a few hundred feet, and I had other friends with me to see it. But I you know, one of my friends I've made doing the show is Terry Lovelace, and he had he's been an alien abductee for all of his life. But he had an amazing abductee experience, not a good one, a very negative one, with a triangle UFO. And here I am, the guy, I'm like, I want to see a triangle UFO. I have a lot of friends that had this UFO experience. They've seen the triangle UFO. I never have. I've only had the major one UFO experience, maybe some lights in the sky I saw another time. But I'm like, I want to see the triangle UFO because I wonder, is that really alien or is that us? You know, who knows? You know, but I want to see the triangle UFO, man. We've had some really good footage of that recently. It seems like there's some UFO spikes lately, some more sightings, and there was a lot down in Texas of the triangle UFO. And that's where my friend's from too. Maybe they're after you, Terry. But yeah, you know, being a paranormal investigator, most people think, oh, you just do ghosts and all that stuff. But people realize is that when you're a paranormal investigator, your mind's open to a lot of different possibilities, not just ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying, like, my holy grail, if I could ever get a hold of the owners, which I've been trying for 7-8 months now, is a Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, God, that is the holy... Oh, my God, that is the holy grail. It is like the Disneyland of the paranormal. All the stories you hear. I mean, if you want ghosts, you want Bigfoot, you want aliens popping out of a ship, you want interdimensional creatures, dogmen, you name it. They got it there.
Shadow creatures,
everything, man. Oh, if you get in there, you giving me a call, Jay. I'm coming out. I will make that trip if you get in there because that's hard.
Paranormal amusement park.
It is, man. That's like that. Oh my God, it's like the Disneyland of the paranormal. So, what have you found out? I mean, what give the people? Some people might be listening. I doubt it, but might not know what Skinwalker Ranch. Go ahead, Jay. Tell people about Skinwalker Ranch.
So Skinwalker Ranch is it in Four Corners? I think it's Four Corners, right? Like the Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico area. Don't give me, I can't exactly remember the exact location, but I know it's like 10, 12 hours from where I'm at now. But in this location, they're supposed to have a lot of hauntings. If I remember correctly, it was a Native American battleground between the U.S. military and the Native Americans at the time. So it's a lot of hotbed for spiritual activities. The whole Skinwalker aspect, again, with the Native American connection of basically shapeshifters that have been sighted in the area. I've actually seen things like chupacabras and, wolfmen and, just strange oddity type creatures from the research. It also happens to be a hotbed for UFO sightings where it's almost nightly from what I was reading and stories that I've heard from people who've actually been able to investigate there. There's been several abductions from the area where, those stories are like some of the cream of the crop kind of abductions, that I've ever read, but unfortunately the current owners are pretty shut off.
Well, I believe, I'm trying to remember. I thought some people involved in investigated for years actually ended up buying it or owning it. I don't know. But they locked it down. They don't want people just wandering onto Skinwalker Ranch.
Didn't they tear it down, or were talking about even tearing it down?
Well, I don't think I don't know. I'm not an expert on it at all, but I had heard that not anybody's living there, even that it's just that they got it locked down, but that they're collecting evidence that they are, and it's under wrap and key, but that there's still investigations going on, but it's being taken very seriously. I would love, like I said, that's like the Disneyland. There's actually 2 Skinwalker ranches. I think the one you're talking about is Utah.
Okay.
But there's another one in the Midwest too that not as many. I think everybody knows about the one in Utah. But there's another place too that they call Skinwalker Ranch, and I can't remember where that one is. It's like the same kind of activity. You wonder about these areas that just have all this different stuff. That's why I call the show Paranormal Soup, Jay, is because I believe it's all connected in some way.
Right.
And these places, like, to me, would be the place to prove that theory, because all the activity, it's so connected. Like you said, all those different things, dogmen and Bigfoot and the UFOs and shadow people and ghost phenomenon, poltergeist activity. I mean, just to spend one day there, it'd be like I'd be done. That'd be it. Just let me please one day. They got to open it up, man. There's got to be places in this world like that. Not there. There's got to be other places. Right. One of the things I love too is the idea of time slips and people that disappear. All that stuff. I believe in the multiverse theory, kind of.
Yes.
The parallel universes. I don't know how you think about it, but I always felt like it could explain a lot of what we've experienced with the paranormal, with hauntings, even.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've kind of connected the multiverse theory actually with the paranormal as far as spirits are concerned, especially where that's why sometimes we can see them and sometimes we can hear them and sometimes we can't. Maybe it's just a connection of the interdimensional, aspects where they're starting to kind of occasionally swerve in and connect with each other so you can kind of see those areas a little bit more. I mean, one of my things I keep looking for, like vortexes or portals, because I would love to show up to one of those kind of things, like, hey, what's going on,
Well, there's got to be some amazing kind of vortex or portal or something going on at Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
Why, and the whole alien thing, when aliens or whatever method they're using to travel, if they're like ripping holes in the universe to cross the galaxy, what kind of effects does that have on the reality around us? Maybe it's like maybe it's like a UFO like dropping off point, like they know it has side effects, so they do it somewhere out in the middle of Utah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I want to try to do, like this coming summer, is try to go to Four Corners. It's a little south of the Utah ranch where it's just like Colorado and like New Mexico and everything just kind of meets, and they have some interesting things like that happen there. Some shapeshifters, UFOs and stuff, and it's like I just go camping out there.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. You don't have to get on Skinwalker Ranch. Obviously, if it's hitting that whole ranch area, it could be more than just the Skinwalker Ranch. It could be anything in or around that area. So yeah, just go on a camping trip out there. Man, it'd be awesome if you could live stream that. I don't know if you'd get a signal out there. I'd watch that, Jay.
The whole area, the land. I mean, wow.
But yeah, you wonder what doorways are open there. What makes it that those kind of effects. They talk about when you get into the parapsychology, they always want to try to explain stuff along the lines of either psychokinetic coming from a person or activity from the land being like either heavy deposits of limestone or it's on a fault line. They want to come up with really scientific reasons, and there's good reason for that. There could be some aspect to with quantum physics and parallel universes that could be affecting these areas and making a home be haunted. So I don't know about you, Jay. I mean, like you said, you go in, you're like me, you collect data, you're getting evidence. But I just had this conversation with the client. I'm like, we're not Ghostbusters. We're not going to come in and get rid of the ghosts for you. We might find people who might be able to help. I assume you probably take that same approach.
Yeah, I never, especially when I do residentials, like the first thing it says, like, I'm not promising anything, I might say, hey, leave the poor people alone, they're tired, but that's about as far as I'm going.
Yeah.
And I'll present them with something, because there's been a few of them, like, people didn't believe their stories and stuff, and they just wanted someone to come in and document it. And I was like, I'll give you a video package of everything we found, and you can take that to whatever your choice of cleanser or crossover or psychic or medium, or whatever you want to do with it. You do what you need to do with it. I'll just enjoy experience.
The reason I've always taken that approach with our group is that I think there's locations like Skinwalker Ranch. I don't care if you bring in 20 exorcists or you do whatever you can to try to get rid of it. That location's always going to be weird, and it's always going to have activity. There's nothing you can do to get rid of it, and it's like, how can you get rid of something you don't understand or know? I mean, I know people that can. I do trust there's people that can clear an area, but I think they would even admit there's just areas you'll never be able to clear. The activity's always going to be there, and that's why I would never want to get into the ghost busting business, because you could really not make that promise. You can't make that promise you can get rid of anything.
Well, even if they could cross them over, I mean, what's not to say that it's so strong there, they go to send them over, and they're like, all right, thanks, guys, and they're waving in the light, we all crying and having a good time and feel good, and then, like, 10 minutes later, they get sucked right back.
Yeah, they come back. Well, you hear that. They clear places, and then the people are like, it was good for 4, 5, 6 months, even 2 years or something like that, and then it just all comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah, even worse than before.
Yeah, especially the negative ones. It's like they find their way once they get kicked out or they get booted out by whatever ceremony somebody did, and then they come back. They'll hear the knock on the door. It's like a good one. They always hear. They'll hear the knock on the door, and they'll open the door. Nobody's there, and it seems like they just let them back in, and then all the negative stuff starts. Yeah. You just, that's what I'm always interested in, Jay, as an investigator, is what are the dynamics? How does it work for them? I don't know if we'll ever get those answers. Do you think we will get more answers as we go, or are we going to just stay stagnant? Or do you think paranormal investigators like you and me or collecting the data, we're going to figure out something?
I think, I like to compare paranormal investigation just to all regular aspects of life. I mean, if you look at how life's progressing, things are getting a lot more detailed. Science fiction is becoming reality, and as part of it's from technology, and part of it's just from really smart people who pick up on things that others are missing. And I think the paranormal can be the same way. I think, eventually somebody's just gonna accidentally stumble across something that's gonna crack something open, and either it's going to be a piece of technology or it's going to be a technique that someone just says, hey, I'm just going to try this out, and it works. And then I truly do believe at some points, regardless if it's, UFO, cryptids, or, entities, that somebody's going to figure this out, and it's going to be a testable aspect. So it'll cross over to the scientific thing, to where it's like, we can test this and get similar results every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The UFO thing might be just a UFO landing on the front lawn of the White House. I doubt that's going to happen there in this administration, but it might. That could be. But the paranormal, right? You said it might be the right person experiencing the right way, and they find a way to communicate. And I always say, how would that change the world if we actually could prove the afterlife and have an open communication with it? That would change the world tremendously. Well, I want to thank you, Jay, for being on. We're at the end of the show. I want you to get out your information to the audience real quick, though. Contact or whatever you want to give out to the audience.
If we got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can just search Supernatural Serenity. If you want to kind of reach out, specifically, our email is supernaturalserenity@gmail.com. We're pretty open. We respond pretty quickly. So, just give us a shout out. We'll more than happy to just talk paranormal stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jay, for being on, and I'd love to have you again and get more evidence. Let me know. We could have a night of evidence with you. But we'll put our own song. That's not the right song. But we can have a night of evidence with you again. If you want to have more stuff you want to share, you have some big investigation, let me know. I'm booked way out, but I'd love to have you on. I'd love the EVPs, man. You give me some EVPs, I'll definitely have you back on.
Well, we'll do that. We're going to try to do something New Year's Eve, so if we get something good, we'll let you know.
Awesome. Well, you have a great night, Jay. Thank you. Thanks for everybody for watching or listening on Late Night in the Millions Radio Network. Please donate, subscribe, do what you can to help keep this great network going. Without you, we wouldn't have all these great shows and great hosts. Donate and subscribe. We won't be back next Sunday because it'll be the holiday weekend. I work retail, so I get pretty pooped out. I'm not going to even try this Sunday. So enjoy, have a great Thanksgiving, a great holiday weekend, and then we'll be back December 2nd with Gavin Lee Davies. It's been almost 3 years, I think, since we had him on. He was one of my first guests. He wrote, what's the book? Darn it, I'm going to forget, Ghost Sex, The Violation. That brought a lot of viewers back then. We're going to talk about some of he's got a new book out. I forgot the title. Sorry, Gavin. We'll talk about that then. But he's got a new book out, and he's always a great guest. Cannot wait to have him back. So see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel on the L&M Radio Network. Have a great night, everyone.